Good evening and welcome to high school football on the Creighton Prep Sports Network. And tonight, for the first time ever, we've got high school football playoffs on Creighton Prep TV, and it's a heck of a matchup. 6th-ranked Creighton Prep Junior Jays taking on 11th-ranked Millard North Mustangs in the round of 16. So we welcome you inside the broadcast booth here at Westside of Phelps Field. I'm Tyler Reedy alongside Brendan Preisman. Pleased to be with you once again for the playoffs. And Brendan, this is one heck of a matchup. It's a late game, but you'll be able to stay awake for sure with the amount of fireworks on the field.
Absolutely. Both these teams very solid offensively, defensively, and both these teams coming into this game red hot, both on winning streaks of at least 3 games, both with great running games and great running defenses as well. So this is going to be a battle of strengths, and it's going to be fun to call.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive right into it, starting with the Millard North Mustangs, 11th ranked, and the visitors tonight. And both these teams, Millard North and Creighton Prep, had similar trajectories to their regular season. Millard North started rough, 3 consecutive losses to Millard South, a blowout, and then Millard West and Elkhorn South in close 7-point games. But then, just like Creighton Prep did, they kind of had a shootout, dramatic win that turned the season around as they beat Lincoln East 46-41 on a touchdown as time expired. After that, Westside lost by 30. That's expected. Anybody's going to lose to Westside by a lot. But then win in double overtime over Grand Island and blowout wins over Fremont to close out the regular season, and Norfolk, the Panthers, to get here today in the first round, 52-6. So.
Yeah, they definitely had a really tough schedule this year. Norfolk, despite being their playoff opponent, ironically, their lowest ranked opponent in the regular season, they didn't play a team ranked below 14, and that was Millard West. And that Millard South game might be key because that's the likely opponent of the winner of this game in the next round. And Millard South ran roughshod over these guys in the first game. But as you said, Millard North, the Mustangs have definitely improved that Lincoln East game. Huge confidence builder. And I think that Grand Island win might have been even bigger for the confidence, especially after a blowout loss to Westside the week before. But they're definitely on a streak now.
Yeah, so looking at how they've been able to get to that streak, it's the run game. They have a stampede of running backs as well as the quarterback, Jimmy Quaintons, and it starts at the top with Quaintons. Over 1,000 rushing yards in the regular season along with the playoff game last week. 14 rushing touchdowns as well. That leads the team by a mile. And then they've got a plethora of running backs that get the job done as well. Jason Cox leads the way, 586 rushing yards in the regular season, 4 touchdowns. And then Tyson Yonk, Noah Boganowski. They don't get a ton of snaps, but when they do, they're pretty effective, both with over 150 rushing yards this season. So the Prep defense will have their hands full.
And one guy that could also cause some problems for the Prep defense is another senior back, Blake Closeman. He hasn't had a lot of rushing yardage, but he does have 100 receiving yards on the season as well as 2 touchdowns. Also 3 interceptions on defense, as well as handling the kicking and punting duties. Leading tackler with 58 tackles. Kind of their Alex Bullock were it not for Quaintons.
Yeah, so I mentioned how at the beginning Millard North had a very similar trajectory with their schedule as Creighton Prep, and if we look at the Creighton Prep schedule, we see their season started off rough as well, about as rough as you can get, losing to your arch rival 42-0 with the Week 1 loss to Westside, but then turned things around a bit, 21-16 win over Papillion La Vista, but then that positive COVID-19 test came back, wiping out their matchup with 2nd-ranked Bellevue West. And then they go to Lincoln Southeast, 5th-ranked Lincoln Southeast, and lose 24-21, a near comeback. But then just like Millard West had, or rather Millard North had with the Lincoln East game, Creighton Prep had a monster comeback, 29 unanswered points in the 4th quarter to defeat Millard West. And then from there on out, it was smooth sailing as Prep finished the season on a 4-game win streak with fairly dominant wins in the last 2 games.
Their offense has just been absolutely incredible since the end of that 3rd quarter against Millard West. Scoring margin since then, 149-13. I calculated the average for that. That's an average of 46-4 for a game score. So, and not only does that show how great the offense is, it also shows how great the defense has been because Prep's played some solid teams.
Yeah, so after the Millard West game, they played 10th-ranked North Platte and held them to only 7 points. And North Platte has one of the best rushing attacks in all of Class A. So that defense has stepped up along with the offense, and offensive production has been phenomenal this year all the way around. Prep, one of the most balanced offensive attacks in Class A, and Alex Bullock has been a consistent contributor, obviously the MVP of this team, 550 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, along with 5 interceptions on the defensive side. All of those statistics led the team, and then A.J. Rollins, the Nebraska commit, didn't have a huge season, did get a ton of catches, but 177 receiving yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. He's a big presence around the goal line. And then Jack Stessman, who has really turned it around, just like Creighton Prep has overall. 595 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, giving Prep a solid identity in the run game.
Stessman definitely one of the biggest and best surprises this season because he was actually on the varsity last year as a sophomore, and he missed time due to an ACL injury, but he's back and he is clearly taken the lead job as the head running back.
Yeah, so if we put it all together with Millard North and Creighton Prep, check out the points per game on offense, or we'll get back to that after the national anthem here. So Star Spangled Banner will be back at its conclusion.
See by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, welcome back to Phelps Field at Westside High School. Just finished up with the Star Spangled Banner. Of course, this is a big week for our country. Election Day coming up on Tuesday, so we remind you to get out and vote if you are of age. But getting back to the game here, Millard North and Creighton Prep, as I was saying, they've got the same amount of points per game, 27.3. These are two very good offenses. Only difference is that Millard North has given up a lot more points. That Creighton Prep defense has really stepped up as they've had the lighter schedule. So the numbers give a bit of an advantage to Creighton Prep, but Millard North has turned their season around as well, so it's going to be a close game tonight for sure.
And you'll notice the 289.3 rushing yards for that Millard North offense, and that's if you include their games against teams like Westside and Millard South. If you only look at their wins, 44 points, 404 rushing yards, and almost 10 tackles per loss, which brings us to some of the keys to the game, utilizing their offensive weaponry and forcing Prep backwards. We've seen Prep struggle with both penalties and tackles for loss so far this season, and if Millard North is able to do that, then they'll be able to accomplish that third key and keep it close.
Yeah, Millard North defense is going to be huge tonight, especially against that balanced Creighton Prep offensive attack, but Millard North's got to take advantage of that run game. They've got all kinds of offensive weapons. Jimmy Quainton's at the top, great thrower, great runner, can put up a lot of points, can put up a lot of yards, and he's going to need to. But on the other side for Creighton Prep, their keys to the game, it's been pretty similar for the past few weeks now, and it's because they've been getting the job done.
Yeah. They've faced a lot of running teams. This is not the first Millard team they've faced, as we'll be reminded with that Millard West incredible comeback. But the game plan is basically the same as it was for that game. Stop the run, get enough offensive production that if you don't stop the run, you'll be fine, and just play a clean game.
Yeah, so you mentioned this is very similar to that Millard West game, and both of these teams, Millard North and Millard West, triple option teams, and what we saw back in that matchup with Millard West when Creighton Prep went down 26-0 is they could not stop the quarterback running the football. Jacob Jones ran for over 100 yards before he was injured in the third quarter, and then you've got a strong running quarterback, even better by quite a bit. Jimmy Quainton's tonight, he's got over 1,000 rushing yards on the season. So Creighton Prep, that front seven has been great this year, and they're going to have to take it up to another notch tonight for sure.
And you got to wonder what would happen, where this Prep season would be if Jacob Jones hadn't gotten hurt near the end of that third quarter, because couldn't do a thing to stop him in those first three. So it's going to be interesting to see what Quaintons can do to them. But I think the key to the game, the real key to the game, is going to be the Millard North front seven. It's not about whether or not they can put up yardage and points. We know that they can do that. The question is whether they can stop Prep from doing that, because you mentioned their defense as a potential weakness with how many points they give up. So for Millard North, guys like Brian Petrie, the sophomore middle linebacker, 7.5 tackles for loss, and Charlie Quaintons, sophomore safety, 34 tackles, 4 tackles for loss. They're going to have to step up. They're going to have to make big plays, especially against the guys like Bullock, Rollins, and Stessman.
Yeah, and you might have seen that last key to the game for Prep. That's feeding off the crowd, and the reason we put that in there tonight is because the birdcage has juniors added to it now. Maximum 150 students, juniors and seniors, upperclassmen allowed in the birdcage. And as we saw last year in football, as we saw last year in basketball, Prep teams feed off of their students, and the students feed off of the Prep team. So they're going to play a huge factor tonight, and we saw it firsthand last year.
Yeah, they definitely should. And this is a home playoff game for Prep for the first time in a while. At the very least, the first time since we've been at the school.
Yeah.
So it's key for them to play off the crowd, and it's key for them to set the tone early, both on offense and defense. In their last few wins, especially the blowouts, we've seen what they can do if they set the tone early, especially in that 68-0 win they had a few weeks ago. So if they can set that tone again and force Millard North to play catch-up and put the ball into the air, then they might have an easy time ahead of them. And Quaintons, obviously you mentioned he's a good thrower, 414 yards, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But 20 for 65, if you're Prep, I say you take your chances with that, because that is well below half completion percentage. So if you're Prep, key on the run. And we saw Millard West actually try to burn him a couple times with the pass, but it didn't work. So I say just keep keying it on the run, and if the pass burns you, then you've got to retool. But we've seen Prep retool on the fly quite a bit this season.
All right, so 3.5 minutes until kickoff here, and we will be right back when the Junior Jays take the field.
Earlier today, on this very field, Westside defeated Grand Island 45-3. First quarter score, Bellevue West 21, Lincoln Southwest 7. In the second period, Gretna and Kearney are tied at 14 all in Gretna. And in the second quarter, Millard South had a 21-0 lead over Millard West. In college football, second quarter.
Welcome back to Phelps Field at Westside High School. 2 minutes until kickoff here for this playoff game between Creighton Prep and Millard North, as Prep gets set to take the field here in the all-blue uniforms as they seek to give the Mustangs the blues here tonight. And here comes Prep to start the postseason at home. Junior Jays 6th ranked, finished the season at a 5-2 record, and they've got the all-blue uniforms for the first time this season, trying to beat Millard North and move on to face the winner of Millard South and Millard West. So let's take a look at the playoff history between these two teams, Creighton Prep and Millard North. Prep, 27 state championships, Millard North with only 5, but Prep has been around a whole lot longer than Millard North has. Most recent title, however, Creighton Prep 2004, Millard North 2015, and Millard North I think has 3 or 4 state titles since Creighton Prep won their last one. Playoff wins since 1985, the year Millard North first started playing. 44 for the Mustangs, 56 for the Junior Jays. And how about consecutive playoff seasons? Prep with 26 consecutive appearances. Millard North with only 2. Then head-to-head wins. They're dead even at 2 apiece.
Yeah.
Chance to get a third here tonight for both these teams. Going to be a good one.
Yeah, these teams definitely very familiar with each other. You could call it kind of a rivalry game at this point. Both with dynasties at different points. Prep 9 titles in total since the NSAA website started keeping track. 7 of them from 1980 to 1989. And Millard North, 8 title game appearances since 2002, 3 title wins since 2010 as the Mustangs come out onto the field. But Prep has played them in the playoffs 4 times since 2002, including 2 championship games. And in the regular season, 14 times since 2003. Most recent game, of course, an incredible Prep comeback, 31-30 win. Are we in store for another one of those tonight?
Yeah, so let's take a quick trip down memory lane with that game. 31-30 win for Creighton Prep. They entered the fourth quarter trailing 30-10. You were calling it, and I remember some of your iconic lines from that game. It was incredible.
I
Prep
choose not to.
yeah, but Prep scored 3 straight touchdowns, and Alex Bullock actually was the hero of that game because Millard North had a 4th and 1, and all they needed was a first down on the ground to secure the win, and Alex Bullock forced a fumble, gave Prep the ball, they drove back down the field, and Bullock caught the game-winning touchdown. So that was an incredible game, and we could see something a whole lot like that tonight, except it could just be more back and forth. So let's take a look at the weather for tonight's game, and it's a bit chilly, but not terribly cold. 8 p.m. start, 46 degrees. 10 p.m. at the end of the game, 44, but clear skies the whole way through. Precipitation, minimal chance. There's not going to be any tonight. And then the wind, once again, nothing to write home about, just a breeze from the southeast. So,
Perfect weather for playoff football.
Perfect playoff football
we got a
weather.
night game, and you mentioned Bullock's heroics last year. This could potentially be his last game in a Junior Jays uniform, as it could be for so many of the other stars like A.J. Rollins, Sam Meisenberg, Tony Melitti. And the goal for them here is to make sure it's not.
Yep, so Creighton Prep is going to get the football first here as Millard North will kick off with Noah Boyd, number 27. Junior Jays have Carson Bartak and Pierce Johnson standing back deep at the 9-yard line. So the playoffs will begin here between Millard North and Creighton Prep, number 11 versus number 6. And this is going to be one heck of a ball game. Boyd will get us underway, and off we go from Phelps Field in the postseason. Short kick taken from the 16 and dropped by Bartak. He's able to pick it up and recover, and now he's got space down the sideline, and he's pushed out by Boyd out across the 40 at the 41. So a nice recovery from Carson Bartak on the return. And we will take a look at Sam Meisenberg, the starting quarterback for Creighton Prep, and there was a quarterback controversy at the start of the year between Meisenberg and the sophomore transfer Parker Lisey. Meisenberg won the job. He's done great ever since. 786 pass yards, 9 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. And then he's been clutch as well, leading comebacks. And last game against Papio South, 2 touchdowns through the air. So he will start in the shotgun from the 41-yard line here on 1st and 10. That's A.J. Collins in motion as they hand off to Jack Stessman, and that doesn't go very far. Gain of only a yard on the play there for Stessman. And it'll be 2nd and 9. Stessman really emerged and helped that Creighton Prep run game strengthen this year.
And back to Meisenberg, one thing I'd say that's key is nerves in a playoff game. We might have seen a little bit of nerves from Bartak there dropping the kickoff, but Meisenberg, a very dependable leader. You can trust him to stay calm and collected, even under pressure like this.
2nd and 9. Meisenberg's first throw to the outside is incomplete. Out of the reach of A.J. Collins, the running back / wide receiver. And that's going to bring up an early 3rd down for Creighton Prep. They'll have 3rd and 9. And this is the situation that Prep wants to avoid tonight. We saw early in the season when they got behind on down and distance, they struggled early on in games. And here they go with 3rd and 9 tonight.
And some nice coverage there by the senior strong safety, Hayden Froschizer for the Mustangs. It's good. The seniors are going to have to play key roles for both these teams tonight. And so far, we've seen a mixture of good and bad for both sides.
Yeah, you mentioned seniors could be playing in their final game tonight. 3rd and 9, Meisenberg's rolling left, being chased by several, and he's just going to fling it to the sideline, incomplete, intended for Thomas Lydon. And it's a 3 and out for the Junior Jays on the opening series. Millard North and that red-hot rushing attack will get the ball back very quickly.
And that's one of the troubles with those long-developing rollout passes. Because if it works, then you've got a wide-open man downfield. But if it doesn't, you've got your quarterback scrambling backwards, desperately looking for somebody to throw it to, while a defender bears down on his face.
Pat Foley, the Arkansas commit, will punt this one away here. Standing back at the 15-yard line for the return is Noah Boganowski. And he's going to make a fair catch. Oh, juggle there, but he's able to haul it in at the 19-yard line. That was actually Blake Closeman on the return, not Boganowski. Closeman makes the fair catch at the 18, and that is where Millard North will begin with Jimmy Quaintance at quarterback. And we mentioned in the pregame how much of a dual threat guy he is. Over 1,000 rushing yards in the regular season, and then last week he really got it done both on the ground and through the air. 113 pass yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 114 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, including an 80-yarder.
Yeah. Some coaches always say about certain players, yeah, they can affect every play. Well, with Quaintance, he can literally affect every play, so Prep's got to key in on him tonight.
He's got plenty of weapons around him, too. 1st and 10 at the 18-yard line. They go with the triple option. It is Quaintance keeping it himself, and he's able to wind his way through that Prep defense for a gain of about 7 yards. So a good start on the ground for Quaintance. He's elusive and slippery, and he'll set up a 2nd and 3 from the 25.
And Quaintance so far looking a little bit like Jack Stessman in his running style, able to bounce off tacklers and keep those legs churning for a few extra yards. And those few extra yards in a game that's going to be as close as this one could make all the difference.
So it'll be 2nd and 3. 25-yard line. Quaintance has great speed, great elusiveness as well. He can do it all from that quarterback position. A minute and a half into this one, as it's a handoff this time. And Jason Cox takes it to the 45-yard line, or the 36-yard line, actually. 1st down, Millard North. Gain of 11 on the play, and a good start on the ground.
And Cox, the 2nd leading rusher for the team this year. 120 carries, 586 yards. And 4 touchdowns. So Cox definitely Quaintance's number 1 option besides himself, and expect him to get a lot of work tonight.
So an early 1st down for the Mustangs. They're set up at the 36 as it's another handoff to Cox, and this time he's bottled up quite nicely by the Creighton Prep defense. Gain of only 3 on the play for Cox, who had over 500 rushing yards on the season. And as I saw in the pregame, he's quite the character as well. He was dancing, getting fired up this season, or for this game, playoffs tonight. So it'll be 2nd and 7 as he's off to a decent start tonight.
And Cox going to be one of the toughest guys to bring down on this team, even besides Quaintance. According to the program, 5'11", 230 pounds, but he doesn't run like it. So if you've got speed and size, you're going to be very tough to tackle. And
Quaintance is thrown to the ground in the backfield immediately that time as he tried to keep it himself and had nowhere to go, as Joey Glogowski gets into the backfield and forces a loss of 3 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 10.
And that play is what happens, or that's what happens to a triple option offense when the play just breaks down and you've got nowhere to go. Glogowski got in there before Quaintance could make the decision about handing it off or keeping it, and he just went for the guy who he knew had the ball, Quaintance, and he just ripped him free of the running back. A great play there from Glogowski.
3rd and 10. They will toss it to the outside, and it's not going to get the 1st down, as that was number 28 from Millard North, Hayden Froscheiser, the senior, but it's going to set up 4th and about 3 yards as it's a gain of 7 on the play.
And it doesn't look like Millard North's going to go for it. And overall, a good drive for the Prep defense. Didn't get a 3 and out, but that sack of Quaintance there might help set the tone for future drives.
So Millard North will punt, as it is Blake Closeman getting set to go from his own 30-yard line. 8 minutes remaining in this 1st quarter. Alex Bullock awaits the kick for Prep. Sky-high short kick. Bullock is not going to have a chance to return, and that might have bounced off of a Prep player. Bullock fields it at the 22, and that is where the Junior Jays will get set up for their 2nd drive. So first time around, 3 and out for Creighton Prep, and it was a limited sample size, Brendan, but what do you want to see done here for the offense?
I think the offense needs to establish the run, because a good run play on 1st or 2nd down is going to prevent scenarios like that 3rd and 9 where Meisenberg ends up rolling backwards, running for his life as 3 defenders are chasing him. So I say get the run game going early, especially Stessman. Get Stessman outside, one-on-one with the defenders.
They hand it to Stessman inside, and he's able to get a couple yards. So Millard North has been effective at limiting him to this point. Gain of only 2 on the play out to the 25. Going to set up a 2nd and 8 for Creighton Prep. And Stessman usually has success between the tackles, but not tonight.
Millard North, a very stout front 4. And they're probably used to it. Again, in practice, they're going against a triple option every day, so they know how to stop the run.
Press coverage from Millard North on second down. Meisenberg's going to look for a deep shot. Bullock over the shoulder, and it's overthrown and incomplete. So we saw that several times last week. Creighton Prep attacking single coverage. They try to do it there, but no success as the throw is offline.
Yeah, Millard North really kind of an all-out blitz there. Basically sent all the linemen and the linebackers, leaving the corners in one-on-one coverage. Really lucky that they were able to get away with that there. An inaccurate throw from Meisenberg. You don't usually see that from him. Normally he's really on target. And with another 3rd and long, hopefully he's on target for this throw.
Yeah, so here we go again. Prep failed to convert on a 3rd and 9, closing out the last drive. Here's 3rd and 8 from the 25. Meisenberg tries to set up a screen. Oh, it's caught by an offensive lineman. Sam Sledge off the deflection for a first down. Now there's a flag. Offensive linemen are allowed to catch the football off of deflections, and Sam Sledge was able to get the first down, but we'll check on the penalty marker, which sits at the 22-yard line. It was a gain of 11 yards. It was supposed to be a screen pass to Jack Stessman, but there was a defender on his back, and the ball popped up right into the arms of Sledge.
And a nice catch by Sledge. Actually listed at tight end on the program, but plays on the line. Sophomore who's probably only going to get bigger. And interesting decision here for the refs to see if this is a penalty or not, because that was definitely tipped. It looked like a set-up screen to Stessman, but Millard North diagnosed it perfectly and blew it up. And if this is a first down, Prep's going to be very, very lucky.
There's a long conversation here as we are still waiting for the official announcement. Officials still talking about it here as they're gathered between the 30 and the 35, and now they're going to march the ball backwards as
illegal touching.
Yep, illegal touching is called against Creighton Prep.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, so not a play you see very often where an offensive lineman catches it off a tip, but that's legal at least in the NFL.
Yeah, maybe the Prep coaches should started reporting Sledge eligible every time they run a pass play.
Yeah.
You never know when you might need him, but the good news for Prep is that instead of an incompletion that would likely force a punt, it's still 3rd down and just slightly longer. And now, obviously, you can't run the screen pass. So I say take your chances with a guy like Bullock or Rollins in one-on-one coverage.
They'll put Bullock and Rollins on the same side at the bottom of your screen, and they will put Trey Olden over there as well. Empty backfield, 3rd and 13 from the 20. Here goes Meisenberg, airing it out down the field. That's overthrown and incomplete again. So Meisenberg a bit off the mark to start this one. We've seen several throws out of the reach of intended targets, throws that, as you said, he usually makes. Incomplete again for Bullock, 4th and 13 coming up.
On that situation, I think you just got to look at A.J. Rollins all the way. He was being covered by Noah Boganowski, a great running back for this Millard North team, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Boganowski is 5'11". Rollins is 6'6" and a basketball player. If you're Prep, why don't you exploit that mismatch every time? Just lob the ball up to him. It works in basketball.
Yeah, we saw it have success in the Papio South game. Pat Foley's kick is going to bounce at the 43, and that's a great bounce for Creighton Prep as this is going to keep rolling all the way to the 30-yard line. That is a 50-yard punt for Patrick Foley, and Creighton Prep will begin on defense facing Millard North at the 30-yard line. So Mustangs picked up 1 first down on the ground with Jason Cox on their opening drive. What do you want to see done differently for them here?
For them, I say just keep doing what they're doing. It's working for the most part. If you're the line, just hold the blocks a little bit more because Joey Gilgowski was able to burst in once. But otherwise, just keep doing what they're doing. I like what they're doing. And an excellent punt by Pat Foley, too. With how the defenses have been playing so far, field position might play a huge role in this game. And Foley definitely has a big leg on him.
Hand off on first down, and from the fullback position, Jason Cox goes nowhere. They'll give him a yard on the play as that Creighton Prep defensive line crowded him and brought him down at the 31, going to set up 2nd and 9. So Junior Jay's defense definitely stiffening against the Millard North run.
And one thing that I think I've talked about a couple times in the last few games is how Prep's linebackers and secondary do a great job getting into the backfield or near it and stopping the run. And with under 6 minutes to go in this first quarter, they're going to have to do a lot more of that.
2nd and 9, they'll toss it on the edge this time, and once again, the Junior Jays do a nice job defensively as it's a gain of 3 yards for number 2, Charlie Quaintance, the sophomore running back / wide receiver, and it's going to be 3rd and 6 as that is A.J. Collins, the safety, slow to get up and hobbling off toward the sideline for Creighton Prep. And he's going to bend over at the 40-yard line and be tended to. So Collins, who made some great plays defensively in the Papio South game, out for the moment now with injury, and that's a big loss to that secondary, which Millard North can burn with deep balls, as we saw last week. So it'll be 3rd and 6 from the 34. Opportunity for the Junior Jays to force a 3 and out. Quick pass to the outside is caught. He got it inside of Jonah Moore as it was complete to Isaiah McMorris at the 39, but it's going to be a yard shy of the first down. And decision time for the Mustangs on 4th and 1. They are going to punt.
And some good coverage by Jonah Moore there. Gets beat a little bit on the original comeback route, but he recovers and is able to make the play. I thought he might have batted the ball out there for a second. Didn't quite get to the ball in time, but he did get to the player and was able to stop them short. And if I'm Millard North, I might be thinking about going for this.
Yeah, well, both offenses have struggled to this point, and Creighton Prep's going to start their 3rd drive as this punt will bounce inside the 30. Bullock is going to let it roll to the 21, and Creighton Prep will have very similar starting field position to their last drive, and they've struggled to this point, back-to-back 3 and outs for the Junior Jays, and the key thing has been inaccuracy from Sam Meisenberg in his throws.
The punters have been the most important offensive players for both teams so far, and obviously we expected a little bit of a higher scoring game than this, but this isn't too surprising really when you think about it. 2 great defenses on hot streaks coming into this game. And that was definitely in offsides.
Yeah, that's a jump on the defensive line. It looked like, unless it was provoked. And, yep, it is an offside against Millard North. So that's going to help the Junior Jays cause, as it's going to be 1st and 5 from the 26 now.
And that could be huge because we've seen them struggle a little bit when they get behind the sticks. But now they're ahead of the sticks. Let's see what they can do with it.
Handoff on 1st down doesn't go anywhere as Jack Stessman continues to struggle on the ground. Might have gained half a yard there. They'll give him 1 officially, and it's going to be 2nd and 4. So Creighton Prep's going to need to take advantage of those free 5 yards because they need anything they can get right now.
And that looked like it was Zeph Sivels-Eden, one of the best players on that Millard North defensive lineman, who is 5'11", 280 pounds, and he really laid the boom on Stessman there.
This time they'll toss to Stessman. He's able to navigate through the hole. He's off to the races. There's a flag down back at the line of scrimmage as Stessman takes it all the way inside the 20, but there is a penalty marker down at the 26. So hold your horses here, Creighton Prep fans, as this could come back. It was a long, long run for Stessman as he finally broke free, but he did so illegally as holding is called against the Junior Jays. And once again, they'll go right back behind and down in distance. So that's a big loss right there on the penalty.
And we saw that against Lincoln Southeast on the first drive. First play, A.J. Rollins with a big touchdown, called back because of holding, but Prep was able to bounce back, and Rollins still got his touchdown on that drive. But Millard North, a far better team than Lincoln Southeast. So will Prep be able to bounce back against a very long penalty that's going to set up 2nd and over 15 against a team with such a quality defense with just over 4 minutes to go.
Yep,
in the first quarter.
4:05 remaining. 2nd and 15 for Prep from the 16-yard line, and Sam Meisenberg's got to start making some accurate throws here to dig the Junior Jays out of this hole. He'll roll right here. Another flag is down, and this is a pre-snap penalty, and it's offside against Millard North. So the yellow handkerchiefs are flying on this drive, and Creighton Prep will go right back to 2nd and 10.
And some of this might just be playoff jitters. You always see teams struggle a little bit on the first few drives of a playoff game because of how much different the atmosphere is. But hopefully both teams are able to settle down. And that especially be key for these Prep offensive drives because so far, the only way the ball's been moving really has been with the penalties.
Yeah, I bet you there are more penalty yards than total yards from these two offenses early on in this game. Here's 2nd and 10 as Meisenberg rolls right, fires a floater downfield, and Bullock goes up and makes the catch at the 35 and he's been doing it all year. He makes another spectacular grab and gets the Junior Jays a first down. So it's a gain of 14 yards on the play as you see what Alex Bullock was able to do this season. 42 catches, 550 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns. He's been Prep's best wide receiver, and he shows you why right there.
And we've seen him out-jump defenders before. Saw him do it twice last week, and our video guy got pretty mad at me for my reactions during that. He said he had to cut him out.
So here's 1st and 10 from the 35 as Stessman is going to get stood up by 2 Millard North defenders. What a defensive play there as Stessman continues to struggle to find space to work with on the ground. Gain of half a yard there, and it's going to be 2nd and 10 from the 35.
Yeah, Gavin Esch helped make the key hit there. Another one of those senior defensive linemen, 6'1", 240. And Stessman so far has been hit hard and often, and that's what the Millard North defense wants, to keep the Prep offense pinned back.
2:40 to go in the first quarter. Still scoreless between 6th-ranked Creighton Prep and 11th-ranked Millard North. Fake the toss, hand it off inside to Max Sanders, and he gets about halfway to the first down to the 40-yard line, and Creighton Prep will have yet another 3rd down situation where they're out of a position to run the ball. They'll have to throw it again, it looks like here. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Well, they could run the ball here,
but it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten a gain of 5 yards, which is what they need to get the first down.
Yeah, Bullock on the near side matched up against Boganowski. That could be the key matchup tonight.
Meisenberg outside. Rollins. Oh, he dropped it. Rollins dropped it at midfield, and that is an uncharacteristic drop right there for the big tight end. Usually so sure-handed and unable to bring that one in. Would have gotten the first down. Instead, it'll be a punt.
And so far, the keys to this game has been both teams failing to take advantage of mistakes by the other team. Millard North seemed to have found something that was working against the Prep defense, and then it just stopped. And then Prep there, you saw Rollins just wide open and just couldn't hang on. So neither team capitalizing really so far, and that's why there are zeros on the scoreboard with 2 minutes to go.
Sky-scraping kick from Pat Foley is going to bounce laterally and be recovered by Prep at the 18, so Millard North will start another drive as these offenses just continue to struggle to sustain drives. Neither team has crossed midfield at this point, and we really haven't seen Jimmy Quaintance do a whole lot for Millard North running the football.
Yeah, except for, I think, the first carry of the game for them. He's been quiet, or at the very least, quieted by the Prep defense. We saw Joey Glukowski hit him with the tackle for loss a bit earlier, but the stars definitely are going to be the keys for these teams tonight. And so far, we've only seen one great play out of any of the stars, and that was the nice catch from Bullock. We technically saw a great play from Stessman, but that was negated by the holding call. So Quaintance is going to have to get going if he wants to put some points on the scoreboard.
Well, right on cue, he's going to take off. Jimmy Quaintance into the open field, being chased by Toby Okafor inside the 30. Quaintance taken down at the 15-yard line with a monster gain, setting up Millard North in the red zone. A gain of 67 yards for the quarterback. What a run.
And that's the danger of playing against Jimmy Quaintance. 6'2", 180, so fast, and you never know when he's going to break a big one. Well, it looked like it was right there. I didn't even have to finish my sentence about how he needed to get going because he got going. And a great play, just found the seam in the Prep defense and ran through it. And Prep has to start clogging those holes if they're going to hold Millard North here.
Here's Cox. Jason Cox with a gain of 3 yards. That'll bring up 2nd and 7 from the 11-yard line. So that was the longest play of the night by far for either team. 68 yards officially for the Jimmy Quaintance run.
And now the nice thing for Millard North is since they're in the red zone, they can just do what they do best and pound the ball in the trenches because they're well within field goal range, I'd say, sitting at the 11 right now, unless a crazy negative play happens there or a turnover. They're basically guaranteed points here. So if you're Millard North, this is where you assert yourself in the trenches.
Here goes Quaintance again. Ducks inside the 10 and is dropped quickly at the 8-yard line. So 3rd and 4 coming up for the Mustangs as Creighton Prep trying to go into bend but don't break mode and hold the Mustangs to a field goal or an attempted 4th down.
And it looked like that was Toby Okafor, the senior defensive back. roughly the same height and weight as Creighton. So that matchup could be interesting to look out for because Okafor has now chased him down on the touchdown and gave him a nice lick up over the middle. So who knows what's going to happen, but now it's 3rd and about
5 yards.
5 near the end of the first quarter. Big play here.
20 seconds to go in the first. Quaintance is going to look to throw. Now tries to take off. Ryan Carney had him wrapped up, and Quaintance is going to be pulled out of bounds very close to the first down marker, and I think he's about a yard short at the 5, and this could be a golden opportunity for the Mustangs to go for it, as it's going to be 4th and 2 from the 6. And they'll have the first quarter break to think about it, and we will take a break as well here on Creighton Prep TV, and we'll be right back. Scoreless so far, but the Mustangs knocking on the door. All right, welcome back to Phelps Field at Westside High School. Scoreless so far as we begin the second quarter with a Millard North field goal attempt. Noah Boyd's kick from about 23 yards is up and good, and the Mustangs draw first blood here in the postseason. It is 3-0 over the Junior Jays for Millard North.
And points looking like they're going to be at a premium this game. Both teams needing every point that they can get on that scoreboard, but interesting decision by Millard North. Now the 3rd time we've seen them elect not to go for it on a 4th and short, and we'll see if those missed points and yards, those missed opportunities, could come back to haunt them later in the game, especially if Prep's offense gets going and this turns into a shootout.
Yeah, so if you're just joining us here on the Creighton Prep Sports Network, recapping what's gone on so far, not a whole lot before that Millard North drive. Both offenses had been really deadlocked in a stalemate up to that point, struggling to find breathing room. But then Jimmy Quaintance, the dual-threat quarterback for Millard North, broke off a 68-yard run that took Millard North from their own 18 to the Creighton Prep 14, thus setting up the field goal attempt. So we'll see if that big run can kind of open things up for both of these offenses.
And for Prep here on this next drive, you just got to come out and keep doing what works. You can't go away from plays like that play that was going to go to Rollins just because it didn't work the first time, because that looked like a very unlucky scenario, and I doubt that's going to happen again. But the Prep offense, as you mentioned, has kind of been deadlocked for quite a while. The run game especially has been struggling to get anything going, and the one big run was called back due to a holding penalty. But the idea behind it was good. They need to get their guys like Stessman and Max Sanders outside the tackles, which they haven't been able to do so far.
Noah Boyd's kick will be taken by one of the Prep upmen at the 24-yard line, as Boyd has been electing to use that short kick strategy, and it was Kyle Munt who fielded that kickoff, setting up the Junior Jays at about the 24-yard line. So Creighton Prep only one first down so far, and they would have picked up another one had A.J. Rollins not dropped the wide-open throw at midfield. So we'll see if Prep can turn things around and at the very least tie the game here.
And they got to keep looking for matchups to exploit. Two of the corners for Millard North right now, Noah Boganowski, Carver Jones, 5'11",
here's
6'1".
a fumble as Max Sanders coughed it up at the 32-yard line, and See what the call is. Hard to see the officials from here, but it looks like Creighton Prep is going to keep the ball, so a lucky break there. Gain of 8 on the play, but Sanders lost the football, and Prep was able to recover it, so it'll be 2nd and 2 from the 32-yard line.
And a lucky break there for Prep, and now they've got to capitalize on it. They've got Rollins with the 5-inch mismatch against Carver Jones, 6'6" to 6'1".
Toss to Stessman. He's trying to shift around in that backfield, but he's got nowhere to go as Millard North wraps him up for a loss of 2 back at the 30. And Stessman continues to be held in check so far. 3rd and 4 coming up for Prep.
Yeah, pretty difficult for you to find any space in the backfield when 2 of your offensive linemen are on top of each other, as they were on that play. But, yeah, Stessman struggling to find any space at all. And now another 3rd down for Creighton Prep. And this one, I think they have to convert after the score if they don't want this game to get out of hand.
3rd and 4. Parker Lisey's in the game at quarterback. He's going to take off. 1st down and more across midfield. Lisey inside the 30, trying to outrun the defense. And he's all the way inside the 10. And they're going to mark him out of bounds at the 14-yard line. That is a huge play for the backup quarterback. Just like Jimmy Quaintons did for Millard North, Lisey takes it for a massive gain and sets Prep up in the red zone.
And I think he might have been in on the fumble as well. I wasn't sure about it, but I saw him walking by the sideline. So I wonder if the Prep coaches are giving Sam Meisenberg some time to get his head on straight a little bit after some inaccurate throws, because Lisey, it appears, is still in the game.
Yeah, he is. Lisey had a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown in the last game against Papio South, and he's going to have to put in some work here as Prep will have 1st and 15 after an illegal substitution. So penalties continue to pile up for both teams, but Prep in particular. It'll be 1st and 15 from the 19-yard line as Lisey does stay in the game.
Still in the red zone and with kind of a clogged backfield right now for Prep if they remain in the formation. And it looks like they will. 3 backs in the backfield, and against a team like against Millard North that's so good at stopping the run, you got to wonder how long this is going to be sustainable.
Well, right on cue. So good at stopping the run. They do it again to Jack Stessman. No gain on the play as he tried to take it up the middle. It'll be 2nd and 15 from the 19-yard line. By the way, that long 3rd down run by Parker Lisey went for 54 yards. 10:35 to go in the first half. 2nd and 15. Lisey's going to try and do it again, and he's going to get swallowed up in the backfield. So Millard North continues to come up with the answers against the run as Sam Meisenberg will come in for this passing situation on 3rd and about 17.
Yeah, Craig Marshall, Brian Petrie both getting in there. And now this is a scenario for Prep where the key here is not get the 1st down, just don't turn the ball over. A field goal here is not a loss in this scenario necessarily. It might be a tie, but right now, a tie on the scoreboard is much better than being down.
Meisenberg's going to take a shot, looking for Bullock, and he's got it! Touchdown, Creighton Prep! Alex Bullock does it again! 21 yards, and the Junior Jays take the lead, 6-3 with 9:58 to go in the first half.
And the height advantage for the Prep receivers against the Millard North secondary strikes once again. Bullock, 6'2", going up against Boganowski, 5'11", and I keep coming back to that because it's a very important key for this game. If Meisenberg can just lob it up and rely on Bullock and Rollins to just go up there and catch it, then Prep doesn't have to worry about scoring. And a touchdown that wasn't really expected, at least by me, I don't think, with 9:58 to go in this first half, and Prep now takes the lead, 7-3.
Pat Foley's extra point good. Hasn't missed an extra point yet this year, and it's 7-3 Creighton Prep, 9:58 to go in this first half. And I tell you what, I don't understand how Alex Bullock keeps doing it. I mean, every time you throw a deep ball into single coverage up to him, he comes down with it. He just keeps finding ways to beat the defenders. And if Sam Meisenberg keeps seeing single coverage, as you've been pointing out, he's got to take that shot.
Yeah, Bullock just seems to want it more than everybody else who's covering him, even more than anybody else on his team right now. He really wants to get this win, move on to the next round, and he's going to drag his team on his back if he has to do that.
Yep, so a 21-yard touchdown for Bullock. He's got 2 catches for 40 yards so far, trying to add on to his streak of games with 60-plus receiving yards. It's sitting at 6 right now for Alex Bullock, and he's 20 yards away from making it 7 consecutive as he tries, as he said, to put the team on his back as he's done all year and lead them to the next round of the playoffs.
And you got to wonder, if the scoreline remains this low, how large that 4th and 2 decision is going to loom for Millard North, because that's potentially 4 points left on the board. And not so coincidentally, Prep's lead right now is 4 points. So Millard North going to have to keep doing what they did on last drive, but they can't keep relying on Quaintance to break big plays, because those are pretty hard to come by in the triple option offense, especially against a team as good against the run as Prep.
Into the end zone goes Pat Foley's kickoff, touchback, and Millard North will start at their own 20-yard line. And last drive took us from the end of the first quarter to the beginning of the second quarter with them, and the story was the 68-yard run by Jimmy Quaintance to move them from their own 18 to the Creighton Prep 14, but then the Junior Jay's defense was able to step up and force a field goal, as you said, out of that 4th and 2.
Yeah, and the key for Millard North, both for now and for the rest of the game, is finishing drives, finishing third down and less than 6 or so, and finishing on defense as well, making sure that Prep can't keep extending drives on their third downs.
Jason Cox on the first play of the drive takes it for about 4 yards, and that'll set up 2nd and 6. So Cox has been the most used runner for Millard North so far in this one, and he's found a good amount of success so far using that size and physicality of his. It'll be 2nd and 5 from the 25-yard line, 9.5 to go in the first half.
And the blocking has been pretty good for Millard North, too, on some of his runs. He's just found holes and been able to run right through them before he's getting tripped up by linebackers. But so far, a good game for Cox, and he might be the guy to lean on for the Mustangs.
Quaintance with a pitch. It's bobbled, but hauled in by Blake Closeman at the 28-yard line. So it was kind of a late pitch from Jimmy Quaintance, but Closeman able to get 3 yards out of it. And 3rd and 2 coming up from Millard North, but they are still in a position where they can run the ball comfortably.
And that's one of the dangers of the triple option is if you have to make a late pitch, if the running back doesn't catch it, then you might be in some deep trouble. Millard North, just like Prep, lucky to avoid a turnover there, as Prep was on one of their last drives with that fumble by Max Sanders. But now 3rd and 2, and this is a key play after that touchdown by Prep.
Quick snap. Jason Cox has the first down as he's able to gallop out across the 30 to the 33-yard line with a gain of 5. So Millard North able to move the chains on 3rd and 2, and they're set up with 1st and 10 at the 33, 9 minutes to play until halftime. So based on what you've seen so far, do you think Millard North is suited better to keep running it up the middle with Cox or try and go to the outside with guys like Quaintance and Closeman?
I say, honestly, just keep mixing it up because the big plays are good, but the 4 or 5 yard runs up the middle are even better.
Yeah. Quaintance is actually going to take it up the middle this time, and he picks up 2.5, getting out to the 35, 36-yard line. Joey Glogowski in on the stop. He's been busy so far. Gain of 2 on the play officially, and 2nd and 8 coming up.
And that play, even though it wasn't a very big gain, you saw why running the ball up the middle with Jason Cox is so important, because 2 or 3 Prep defenders got in the backfield and immediately went for him. They didn't even see the ball. They were just like, okay, it's a run. It's probably going to Cox. And that could be huge later in the game as well if Quaintance decides to pull it when he sees an opening.
Here's 2nd and 8, and there was movement as that ball was being snapped. Several Millard North offensive players were moving at the snap, and that is a false start, moving it back to the 30-yard line. But, you know, I remember I was at that Millard North game last year when Creighton Prep made the comeback, and through the first 3 quarters, they could not defend the triple option. They were coming to the wrong people, missing where the football was. But I'd say tonight they're looking a whole lot better of going to everybody and making sure that everybody gets covered.
Well, they've seen the triple option before this season with Millard West as well, so it's not a huge surprise, but definitely shutting down Quaintance for the most part, which has been the key for them under 8 minutes to go in this first half.
2nd and 13. Quaintance wants to do it himself, and he's only able to get a couple yards. So 3rd and long coming up for Millard North, and that's exactly what Creighton Prep wants to see defensively. Jimmy Quaintance has not attempted a pass to this point, and he might have to here on 3rd and 11 from the 32.
And a nice tackle there by Tony Militi, the senior linebacker, one of the captains of this team. You saw him running basically all the way around the edge to come over and make that play on Quaintance. Tackled him from behind and saving a couple yards that could make the difference between another run play for Millard North and a passing play, which is exactly what Prep wants them to do.
Jimmy Quaintance did throw 2 passing touchdowns last week against Norfolk, but as I said, hasn't thrown a pass yet tonight, and if he does throw a pass, it's going to come after this Millard North timeout. So first timeout used by either team here in this first half, and with 7:10 to go, Creighton Prep trying to hold on to its 7-3 lead. Recap of the scoring so far. At the end of the first quarter, Jimmy Quaintance took a 68-yard run into the Prep red zone at the 14-yard line. That drive was capped off with a Millard North field goal to start the second quarter. And then Creighton Prep responded with a 54-yard run by Parker Lisey that set up a 21-yard touchdown pass on 3rd and 17 from Sam Meisenberg to Alex Bullock. So it hasn't been the high-flying start that we envisioned, but it's definitely been back and forth.
It certainly has, and the key has been the defensive lines for both teams, because we've seen the defensive lines make life miserable at times for both teams, and when they haven't, that's when the big plays have come, like Quaintance's run, huge hole for him, Parker Lisey's big run, hole opened up, Meisenberg's touchdown to Bullock, nobody in his face. So the defensive lines are going to be the key for both teams, and so far, Prep's defensive line just has the edge over Millard North, and that's why Prep has the edge over Millard North on the scoreboard as well. 3rd
and 11 out of the timeout. Quaintance is going to air it out deep down the field, and it's over the head of his intended target, Noah Boganowski, and incomplete. So Quaintance has a strong arm. I was watching him in warm-ups, and in the game last week against Norfolk, he can definitely fire it deep downfield, but just a bit too far there. 4th and 11 coming up. So 7:04 remaining in this first half, and Blake Closeman will head out onto the field to punt. Alex Bullock waits for it at about his own 35-yard line.
And a key stop for Prep there, especially after the touchdown. And now they'll have the lead and a chance to, as we've said a couple times before when we've been calling these games, just go with what works. Get Stessman outside, get the ball to Bullock and Rollins in one-on-one coverage, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, so Prep begins at their own 35-yard line, and what's interesting here after seeing the consistent single coverage on Alex Bullock and Millard North getting burned by it, Millard North has to make a decision defensively. Either they keep leaving Bullock in single coverage and get burned, or they bring extra attention to Bullock and leave other guys open potentially. So we'll see what happens here on this Creighton Prep drive. 4 receivers set on first down at the 35. Shotgun formation, as it is Stessman with some room for the first time, trying to get out of a tackle. Now he accelerates inside the 40. Stessman with one man to beat inside the 20. And he's going to be taken down at the 7-yard line, but finally Stessman gets a big run as he pops it all the way inside the Millard North 10, setting up 1st and goal.
Good tackle there by Carver Jones and Prep. We've seen them make adjustments before this season, especially at the start of the 4th quarter against Millard West. But a nice adjustment offensively, coming out with 4 wide and 1 in the backfield, forcing Millard North to spread out that defense. And then Stessman was able to just run right up the middle, breaking a couple of tackles, and all of a sudden Prep set up with 1st and goal.
Parker Lisey back in the game at quarterback, had the 54-yard run on the last drive. He's going to hand off to Max Sanders, and he's going to run into a crowd right at the 5-yard line. Gain of 2 or 3 on the play, sets up 2nd and goal. But the huge run from Stessman gained, it was
quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit. I'm doing the math in my head. 58 yards for Stessman. 1st and goal at the 7, now 2nd and goal at the 4.
And the Prep offense kind of reminds me of how the Texas Longhorns ran their offense a couple years ago, like when they beat Your Fighting Irish in double overtime. Had a running quarterback come in for the running situations, passing quarterback come in for the passing situations. That's what they're doing right now.
Stessman is into the end zone. Touchdown, Junior Jays. Stessman finishes what he started with a 4-yard touchdown run, and Creighton Prep is getting hot in the 2nd quarter. They've got a 13-3 lead, and you are very lucky that that touchdown happened, because I was going to make a comment about Texas's play this year, but I'll hold off on that.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Here we go.
But great drive from Creighton Prep.
Mm-hmm.
They're really getting going.
Stessman's woken up. That's never good for any opposing team.
Yeah, so Stessman took it 58 yards, setting up the first and goal for Creighton Prep, and then he took it into the end zone from 4 yards out. Just a 3-play drive for the Junior Jays, and Pat Foley will make it an 11-point lead with the extra point. Creighton Prep 14, Millard North 3 with 5:54 to go in the first half. So the Mustangs, they've got to get on their horse here, and it's going to be a struggle because they could end up in a situation where they have to throw the ball. So it's really now or never.
First of all, nice joke there with the get on the horse.
Yeah.
I like that. And yeah, I agree. They definitely have to start going. They have to start picking it up. And this is exactly what Prep wanted. They want to get Millard North down early because that puts Millard North out of their element. If they're down 11 with 5:54 to go in the first half, as you said, they're going to have to start passing the ball a little bit more. And as we mentioned in the pregame, that's not their strong suit. And Prep, we know, has an incredible secondary. Alex Bullock, of course, with 5 interceptions on the year. That's the team lead, and he is probably raring to get another interception tonight. And it's going to be interesting to see what Clayton's can do because we've seen his strong arm, but much like Meisenberg at the beginning of the first quarter, haven't seen too much accuracy from him so far. So it'll be interesting to see the Prep defense's game plan, to see whether they let Millard North get the pass because they trust Quaintance to miss the throw.
Yeah, so the good news for Millard North being down by 11, they do get the football to start the second half. Creighton Prep received to start the game, so Millard North, if they can possess the football for long enough on this drive, they can go for a 2-for-1, get a score out of this drive, take it to halftime, get a score out of the drive coming out of the second or the halftime break.
The key is possessing it for long enough, though, and as we've
Yep.
seen, except for one big play by Jimmy Quaintance, they haven't really been able to do that,
No.
thanks to the Prep defense.
And they'll start at their own 20-yard line as Pat Foley kicks another one into the end zone for a touchback. So first and 10, 20-yard line for Millard North, trailing by 11. And last drive didn't go very far. They got a couple good gains on the ground with guys like Jason Cox and Jimmy Quaintance, but the drive stalled out at about the 35-yard line. They were forced into a 3rd and long, and that's not favorable for a triple option team like the Mustangs.
And a situation like this, as I mentioned, not favorable for a triple option team at all because not only does the offense take up a lot of clock, it's not very good when the defense can pin their ears back and come straight at you because they've got the lead.
Jason Cox on first down, able to run through a defender and get to the 29-yard line. Gain of 9 on the play as Cox continues to find good space right up the middle, and it's going to be 2nd and 1. A.J. Collins made the tackle.
So that's some good news for Prep. We saw Collins walk off the field a little bit earlier. Good to see him back on the field because he's one of those senior leaders in the secondary, and Prep could use his services if Millard North starts throwing the ball.
2nd and 1 from the 29, 5:20 to go in the first half as Quaintance darts through would-be tacklers and picks up the first down, a gain of about 10 yards, taking the Mustangs to the 39. So the run game starting to open up a little bit here for Millard North, but the key is whether or not they can sustain it.
And Quaintance with some great ball carrier vision there, running behind his blockers, waiting until he saw the hole, and then he just ran right through it to set them up at the 39. And a good drive by Millard North, and this is the quintessential Millard North drive that has killed some of their opponents earlier. Not the big plays, but just the 4-yard run, the 5-yard run, the 3-yard run. Over and over and over again, just demoralizing a team.
They toss it to Charlie Quaintance on the outside, and he is smothered by the Creighton Prep defense as they do a nice job swarming to the football. Gain of only a yard on the play on the toss, and that'll bring up 2nd and 9 from the 40. So whether it's up the middle or on the outside, the Junior Jays have been up to the task.
And if you're Millard North, that toss play might be something you want to move away from because not only is it a slow developing play, but Prep has a lot of fast guys in their linebacker core and in their secondary. And if the toss is 5 yards deep in the backfield, and by the time a guy like Charlie Quaintance gets to the line of scrimmage, there's 2 or 3 Prep defenders waiting for him.
2nd and 9, Quaintance trying to take it himself, and he's wrapped up by Glagowski again. So a loss of a yard on the play as Joey Glagowski really establishing himself as the defensive player of the night so far for the Junior Jays. Loss of a yard on the play, and it'll be 3rd and 10 from the 39.
Glagowski, I think, also got in there on the incompletion from Quaintance that ended Millard North's last drive. We're in a similar situation here. 3rd down and about 10. So now Prep with a chance to really assert themselves and put their footprint on this first half with about 3:30 to go.
3:30 to go in the first half, as you said. 3rd and 10. You're going to set up a screen pass here. And on the outside, that'll pick up about 7 yards, but not enough for the first down, as it'll be 4th and 3. Catch was made by Tyson Yonk. That's his first touch of the night. Gain of 7, and Millard North is going to punt from their own 46.
And another interesting decision by Millard North, playing very conservatively tonight. And once you get into the postseason at this point, really playing conservatively goes out the window. You're here to win, because if you don't win, then there's no more football for you. But so far, Millard North, a lot of punts, not a lot of aggressiveness. Oh, boy.
Closeman's punt is fumbled by Bullock as a Mustang defender or special teams player came flying in, and Millard North has the football at the 25-yard line, and that is just what the doctor ordered for Millard North. They're set up with excellent field position and an opportunity to make some inroads on this deficit. So Alex Bullock, such a reliable player, kind of had to field it on a short hop as he sort of misjudged it, had to run up to it, and the ball bounced right as he was trying to field it and scored it out. Mustangs are on it.
And maybe the playoff jitters are affecting the seniors a little more than I thought. First, Rollins with the drop on that 3rd down play, and now Bullock with the costly fumble that sets Millard North up in prime position to put themselves back in this game right after a huge stop by the defense, too.
Quaintance is on the move, trying to get to the outside, and he goes head-on right into Michael Barrett inside the 20-yard line, but you can sense that energy building after the turnover for the Mustangs. Gain of 7 on the quarterback run, 2nd and 3 at the 18.
Nothing's bigger for an offense momentum-wise than getting to come back out onto the field right after you thought you were going to have to watch the defense for a while again. A huge turnover, a very costly turnover, and one that could swing momentum going into halftime with 2:15 to go.
2nd and 2 from the 19 as it's a handoff to Cox. He's going to have the first down inside the 15. Gain of about 5 on the play, and Millard North continues to march toward the end zone. They've got 1st and 10 at the 14 now.
And Cox continuing to do his work and kind of looking like a continuation of the drive that was just ended a few minutes ago for Millard North. Just keeping the small runs, 4, 5, 6 yards, keeping them going, and they're working quite well late in the second quarter.
1st and 10, 14-yard line. Quaintance takes it for about 3 to the 11, maybe 10-yard line. And as I said before the drive began, Millard North had an opportunity to milk some clock here, and although they've done it by way of the muffed punt, the clock is down under a minute and a half remaining, and they've got an opportunity to leave Creighton Prep with no chance to go back the other way and score.
Well, not necessarily no chance. We know how fast the Prep offense can score if they really want to. But, yeah, definitely some very good clock management by Millard North on these last 2 drives, trying to set themselves up in as good a position as possible going into halftime.
Here we go with Quaintance again as he pinballs through a couple Prep defenders inside the 5. And it looks like he's got the first down. So 1st and goal at the 3, and the clock now sits at 1:01 remaining. So Millard North doing a beautiful job of working the clock here on this drive, and they're knocking on the door, trying to make it a 1-possession game again with a touchdown.
And Quaintance really starting to seek out contact, it looks like. He's going right into the teeth of that Prep defense, and he is... What in the world?
Well, it looked like the ref blew his whistle and his mic was on. False start against Millard North. Yeah, so I've never seen that before going to football games. The official blew his whistle and his mic was turned on, so the whistle came through the stadium speakers. That was interesting. Yeah, exactly. But false start, 1st and goal at the 9 with 46 seconds remaining until halftime. So we'll see how Millard North decides to attack this. Creighton Prep has been in this position already once in this game, and they held the Mustangs to a field goal. And we got a timeout called for by Creighton Prep.
But as I was saying earlier before the whistle, Quaintance really starting to seek out contact. He's going into the middle of that Prep defense instead of looking for the outside. He's trying to get as many yards as possible, and he figured out that the way to do that is to go up the middle, and that's starting to work for him and the Millard North offense, and they could cut the gap to about 4 near the end of the quarter.
Yeah, while we've got a little break here, we'll take you through the Class A bracket on the back end of halftime, but the game that is most influential on Creighton Prep here is Millard South and Millard West, number 3 against number 14, and Millard South leads the Wildcats 21-7. Of course, the winner of this game plays the winner of that game. Millard South, the heavy favorite, being ranked 3rd in Class A. They've got the 14-point lead. So if Millard West were to win, Creighton Prep would have to go on the road with a win. If Millard South were to win, actually, if Millard West won, Creighton Prep would play at home. If Millard South won, Creighton Prep would have to go to Buell Stadium. So.
And we've seen what Millard South can do to at least one of these teams. They opened their season against Millard North and beat the Mustangs 33-0. So they're a solid team, but Millard West playing really close for a team that Prep dominated for an entire quarter. Although then again, for the first 3 quarters, Prep was the one getting dominated. So
46 seconds left in the first half. First and goal, Mustangs at the Prep 9. Quaintance takes it himself. He's got some space, but it closes up quickly as he couldn't quite turn the corner. It's a gain of only a yard on the play down to the 8. Brings up second and goal. Millard North letting the clock run. And now we've got a whistle and a timeout for Millard North. So what are you discussing in the huddle here, Brendan, if you're either of these teams with these timeouts?
Well, if you're Creighton Prep, then you're just saying, keep doing what you're doing because it's working. That false start is pretty big, I think, because it goes from second and goal or first and goal at the 2 to first and goal at the 7 or so. And now Millard North is a little farther back than they'd like to be. And if you're Millard North, you're just saying, beat the Prep defenders to where you're supposed to be blocking because so far they haven't really been able to do that. It looked like they were telling clock guys to reset the clock to 36 seconds there, if you could hear that. But if you're Millard North, the key thing is getting the blockers in front of your runners because when Quaintance has gone outside, except for that one big run, he's been met by Prep players because there's been none of his teammates in front of him, and they're going to have to avoid that situation if they want to score here with about 30 seconds to go in this first half.
Yeah, they left the clock at 32 seconds. Now they might move it as the officials are talking about something at the 17-yard line. As it's going to be second and goal from the 7, and yeah, it looks like they're signaling to the clock guys, which are sitting just a couple booths away from us, to change the clock to 36 seconds remaining, and they do just that. So second and goal from the 8-yard line after the timeout. Millard North has 1 remaining. Quaintance wants to throw. Slant route. It is caught. Touchdown Mustangs. Tyson Yonk from 7 yards out, and Millard North is able to do exactly what they wanted to do before the half. They cut the lead down to 5 points. It's now 14-9.
And that's Yonk's second touchdown catch of the season, and a big one for a momentum swing in this game. Since that muffed punt, we've gone from Prep up 14-3 with a chance to go up 21-3 at half and potentially really seal the game. And now all of a sudden, it's 14-10 with 30 seconds to go, and Millard North gets the ball coming out of half.
Yeah, so now this game is starting to develop the way we thought it would develop, a close back-and-forth offensive duel, and we're seeing these offensives find a lot of breathing room, and it was that 67-yard, 68-yard Jimmy Quaintance run that really set things off as pretty much every drive except for the drive that concluded with the punt that was muffed from Millard North has resulted in points. So 31 seconds left. Junior Jay's lead has been trimmed down to 4, and if you're Coach Yonk here for Creighton Prep, you don't get the ball to start the second half. You've got 31 seconds in a passing game that's been pretty good so far, and a defense that's playing press coverage against guys that can easily beat press single-man coverage. So do you attack here?
I say at the very least you try to get a long Pat Foley field goal set up. You've got 30 seconds left, give or take. You've got 2 timeouts, and you've got the best kicker in the state on your team. So just get to maybe the 35, which would be doable, especially after a short kick by Millard North, which seems likely here. But Prep will probably only have to go about. Never mind.
A low line drive kick will be taken by Pierce Johnson at about the 8. And Johnson's got some space. He's got good speed, and he's to the 35-yard line. So field goal range, I would estimate, is about the 30-yard line because in that Papio South game to close out the regular season, we saw Foley miss from 52. He left it well short, and that would mean offense getting to the 35-yard line. So I'd say probably between the 25 and the 30 is the target line here for Prep if they want to attack.
Yeah, so Prep's only got to go about, looks like 35 to 40 yards, which is doable in 25 seconds with 2 timeouts, especially with the great offense. Meisenberg in the game now in this obvious passing situation, and Bullock once again in one-on-one coverage.
With a much shorter cornerback.
Oh.
And we got
A Prep timeout, it looks like. And
yeah.
interesting decision there because that missed timeout may come back to haunt the Junior Jays if they get a pass over the middle with about 5 seconds left and can't get up to spike it in time. Because we've already seen Millard North leave some points on the board in the first quarter, not going for it. Early in the second quarter, not going for it on 4th and 2. And will we see Prep leaving points on the board because they had to use a timeout coming off a kick return?
Yeah, so 25 seconds remain. Prep is down to 1 timeout remaining now. So if they choose to attack, that means you can really only have 1 non-first down completion that gets tackled in bounds. You got to try and work the sidelines, and that's where they've got Alex Bullock and A.J. Rollins set up in single press coverage. Meisenberg wanted to go for Bullock. He's going to get sacked, and Creighton Prep should just let the clock run out here as Meisenberg was trying to go deep for Alex Bullock, but he just did not have the time, and the clock will run, and it doesn't look like Creighton Prep is in any kind of a hurry, so that should take us to the halftime break.
And it looked like that was Zeph Seibels-Eden again. We've mentioned him a little bit so far, but 5'11", 280-pound senior, and he is definitely the key cog on that Millard North defensive line, and he will send them to halftime with a whole heap of momentum.
Yeah, so it's been an entertaining first half so far, and it's going to get even better in the second half. Creighton Prep leading Millard North 14-10. Mustangs will get the football to start the second half. We'll be back in about 15 minutes to take you around the Class A bracket tonight and bring you the second half of action here in the playoffs. Welcome back to Phelps Field at Westside High School as Creighton Prep, 6th ranked Creighton Prep is taking on 11th ranked Millard North in the round of 16 for the Class A state playoffs. I'm Tyler Reedy alongside Brendan Preisman. Pleased you're with us tonight. It's been a fun game so far, but
Certainly has.
let's take a look around the Class A bracket because we've got action going on. All 8 games are being played tonight. Nothing on Thursday night, of course. And we've got 3 games final. Millard South beat Millard West 21-7, so that means the winner of this game goes to Buell Stadium to take on the Patriots. But that game closer than a lot of people expected. Just a 14-point win for the 3rd-ranked Millard South Patriots.
And that's very interesting when you think about it because we've seen what Prep can do against Millard West, and we've also seen what Millard North can do against Millard West. Millard North played Millard West closer than Millard South despite the 33-0 loss to Millard South on their record as well. So interesting to see what happened to Millard South to go from being behind only Bellevue West and Westside in the regular season to barely being able to beat Millard West.
Yeah, and then a very surprising score here. Lincoln East, 7th-ranked Lincoln East, destroyed 10th-ranked North Platte, 42-0. That game's final. Westside, 2nd-ranked Westside beat 15th-ranked Grand Island, 45-3. No surprise there. That game's final. 2nd-ranked Bellevue West is about to put a capper on a victory over Lincoln Southwest. The score is 45-13 there late in the 4th quarter. Gretna and Kearney, that is the 7 versus 8, or rather the 8 versus 9 matchup. Kearney leads Gretna 30-21 late 4th quarter. And then Elkhorn South 10, Fremont nothing early 2nd quarter. And Lincoln Southeast has an early lead over Columbus down at Seacrest Field. So a lot of good
7-0.
matchups and a lot of pretty close games.
Yeah. We've definitely got a lot of solid teams all throughout this playoffs, even without OPS. Still a lot of very competitive games. Of course, you're going to have a lot of those games, especially with Bellevue West and Westside, that are just the other team gets blown out of the water. But I'm really interested in that Millard South result and how it came to be because from what I've seen from them just looking at their regular season record, they are a very good team. They're basically on the same level as Bellevue West and Westside. So if they're struggling against Millard West, then Prep could have a really good opportunity to pull off an upset and advance to the semifinals.
Yeah, so that's all the games going on around Class A right now, but the general consensus, all the rumors that I heard, was that the best game of the round of 16 would be right here, right now at Phelps Field between Creighton Prep and Millard North. And I don't know about you, Brendan, but I'd say it's been the best one so far. 14-10 Creighton Prep lead, and we've seen plenty of big offensive plays, back and forth action. Should be a fantastic second half.
It's definitely lived up to the expectations. We've had long quarterback run from Millard North, long quarterback run from Prep, long running back run from Prep, fumbled punt by Prep, passing touchdown from Millard North, passing touchdown from Prep, a first quarter with nothing, basically, and a second quarter with almost everything. And this game looks like it's going to come right down to the wire, same as that regular season game last year, except there won't need to be a comeback because both these teams seem to have something going every drive now. 4 straight scoring drives if you exclude the Millard North drive that ended in the punt that was fumbled. So both teams probably had some locker room adjustments to make, but it'll be interesting to see what they come out and do. It'll be interesting especially to see if Prep stays with that 4 wideout formation that worked so well near the end of the second quarter because Jack Stessman just had a big hole to run through, and he ran through it very well. So if you're Prep, I think you have to stay in that formation because Millard North has done a great job at getting penetration with multiple backs in the backfield. But if there's 4 wide, then their defense has to respect guys like Bullock and Rollins, and that leads to open space for guys like Stessman.
Yeah, so recapping the scoring in the first half, started first play of the second quarter was a 23-yard made field goal for Millard North by Noah Boyd, and then Creighton Prep answered with a long 54-yard run by backup quarterback Parker Lisey. That led to a 21-yard touchdown pass from Sam Meisenberg to Alex Bullock. That put the Junior Jays up 7-3, and they built on their lead very quickly after that as Jack Stessman ran for 58 yards, taking them inside the 10-yard line, and then capped it off with a 4-yard touchdown run. That put Creighton Prep up 14-3, but then Millard North stalled out a drive at about the 40-yard line, down by 11, punted. Alex Bullock muffed it, and Millard North recovered it at the Prep 25, and they turned that into a touchdown pass from Jimmy Quaintance to Tyson Yonk, a 4-yarder. I think it was actually a 7 or 8-yarder, but it puts us where we are now, 14-10 games. So we've got a good one coming down the stretch here in the second half.
Yep, and Millard North gets the ball to start, and the key, just like it was at the start of the game, establish the run early. Get those 4 or 5 yard runs and keep them going. Let Quaintance work inside, outside, through the air even, because that was a pretty nice throw on the slant route that led to the touchdown. And then for Prep, just keep doing what worked when you forced that 3 and out before the fumbled punt, because the defense at times looks like it completely has Millard North shut down, and then at other times Millard North is doing whatever they want, so Prep's definitely got to get some defensive consistency going.
Yeah, and you've got to give credit to that Creighton Prep defense. It is not easy to defend the triple option because you've got all these different players in motion, all these different play fakes with multiple guys in the backfield, but Prep has been disciplined for the most part. They haven't ran to the wrong player. You know, most of Millard North's sizable gains have just been their talented running backs and quarterback Jimmy Quaintance just making plays in the open field. So Creighton Prep just needs to continue to try and stay disciplined, limit that run game, and hopefully build a lead. That'll help their chances to win this game.
Yeah, it certainly will. And the key here is going to be this first drive, because I'm a big believer that first drives of halves can always set the tone for that half. For the first drive of the first half, it was a defensive stop for Millard North, which set the tone for much of the first quarter and some of the second quarter as well. And this first drive of the second half could be very interesting, and see how that helps the rest of the game play out.
Yeah, so the final drive of Millard North's first half was also a tone setter because they were able to control the clock, didn't give Creighton Prep any chance to go back the other way and put up points after the Mustangs scored their touchdown. So we'll see if they can build on the momentum they were able to generate, getting the football first here in the second half. So 24 minutes remain, and Creighton Prep has a 4-point lead over 11th-ranked Millard North, as Pat Foley will kick this one away. And the second half will get underway here at Phelps Field. Nice line drive kick. We've already seen a couple touchbacks, and that'll be another one as it's fielded about a yard into the end zone. And it's a touchback. Prep begins, or rather Millard North begins at their own 20-yard line, 1st and 10.
And back when the game was still scoreless, I remember saying that field position could play a key battle, and even though there's been a lot of scoring now, that still holds true. If Pat Foley can keep pinning Millard North inside the 20 with his kicks, then that'll help the Prep defense really get after the run and help keep Millard North pinned back deep.
1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. That's Closeman in motion. Quaintance takes it himself right through the middle, and he's thrown to the ground hard at the 28, but it's a nice gain on the play. 8-yard pickup for the Millard North quarterback, who had the longest play of the first half for the Mustangs. It was a 68-yard run. That was really the first big play of the game for either side, and he's off to a good start here in the second half.
Following his blockers once again, it looked like he was just running right behind Jason Cox there, and that was key for him in the first half, just finding the holes and running right through them. And if he can do that again this second half, the Prep defense could be in trouble.
Here's Cox, got the first down. Jason Cox with a gain of 7 yards, taking it to the 35, and it's a good start on the ground for the Mustangs. As he said, trying to set a tone on the ground with this opening drive of the second half.
Yeah, and especially if they can establish themselves up the middle, because most of their big plays in the first half came on runs to the outside, but if they can run up the middle, run right into that Prep defense, and still come out with 5 or 6 yards, then they'll basically be unstoppable.
1st and 10 at the 35-yard line, just over a minute into the second half, as Quaintance tries to take it himself, and he's able to pick up about 8 yards, slicing his way to the 43. And to start the second half, we've seen gains of 8, 7, and 8 on the ground for the Mustangs, so a very consistent start running the football. They'll need to keep it going.
Yeah, Quaintance, very intelligent player, and we've seen it here. He knows exactly when to keep the ball and when to hand it off, and he's been doing a great job of that so far. And the Millard North offensive line really opening up some holes. They're coming out of the half fresh.
Toss to Blake Closeman's going to get the first down as he reaches out at the 46. Gain of 3 on the play. Back-to-back first down pickups for Millard North, and just like that, they're only 4 yards shy of midfield, just under 2 minutes into the second half. Gain of 3 on the play.
And that's another scenario where the great blocking by Millard North really decides today, because toss plays on second and short, or really any down and short, are difficult to work, especially if the defense gets in the backfield because it's too slow to develop. But on that play, Closeman had just enough time to be able to get the first down.
First and 10, 46-yard line. Jimmy Quaintance crosses midfield, and it's another good gain as he fights through a couple prep defenders to the 47 of the Junior Jays. Gain of 7 on the play as Quaintance is off to a nice start running the football here in the second half. Going to bring up a 2nd and 3 as Joey Glogowski was in on the stop again.
And Quaintance, a senior just like some of the stars we've mentioned for prep, this could be his last football game as well. But the way he's playing it clearly seems like he doesn't want it to be. He is going all out and is routinely taking 3 or 4 prep defenders to be able to tackle him.
2nd and 3. Mustangs operating in prep territory, and they are going to go backwards as Sam Sledge was in there for the stop along with Max Cobbs as Jason Cox was stood up for a loss of 2 yards, and it's going to be 3rd and 5 from the 49. So a great job by that Creighton prep defensive line.
And that's just the prep defensive line just getting off the ball quicker than Millard North, able to get into the backfield and make things miserable for the backs because Quaintance didn't necessarily make the wrong decision handing off there. There just wasn't really a right decision.
Yeah.
The runner was going to get demolished either way, so now 3rd and 5, still a running situation, but it'll be interesting to see if they go to the air again.
8.5 to go in the third quarter. Quaintance will go to the air, and he fires a dart that is broken up by A.J. Collins. Incomplete. 4th down coming up, and let's keep an eye on that special teams unit for Millard North. They are not coming onto the field just yet. Looks like Millard North might go for it here, and no, they won't. They will not. It was a delay, but the punting team will head out onto the field as Blake Closeman will get set to kick it to Alex Bullock, who muffed his last opportunity at a return, setting up Millard North's only touchdown.
And some anger towards the officials on the Millard North sidelines right now. They think that A.J. Collins may have interfered with the receiver, and they may be right. It did look like he got there a little early. Oh, boy.
Short punt. Nearly hit A.J. Collins. That would have been a disaster for prep, but it goes untouched until it is downed at the 20-yard line by Millard North, and that's where Creighton Prep will begin on offense. And the 2 keys for the Junior Jays in the first half were, as you said, spreading out their formations, taking more and more Millard North defenders out of the middle part of the field, giving room to Jack Stessman to run up the middle, and then also getting receivers Alex Bullock and A.J. Rollins on the outside in single coverage and taking shots.
Looks like they're in the I formation for this first play, though.
1st and 10, 20-yard line, 8:19 to go in the third quarter as Stessman is taken down immediately. Gain of only a yard on the play as Prep has really struggled trying to run out of the I formation tonight as it's put more Millard North defenders in that middle part of the field, giving Stessman less space.
Yeah, it looks like Max Sanders coming out, though, for Thomas Lydon, the junior receiver. So now Prep's starting to spread it out, and that's exactly what worked last time. That might be exactly what they need to really pull ahead and pull away in this game.
Quick screen. Alex Bullock is not going to go anywhere. In fact, he lost a couple yards as that was played beautifully by the Millard North secondary. Loss of 2 on the play, and Prep faced with an early 3rd and 11.
That was Noah Boganowski, and he's struggled so far in single coverage against Bullock. He was the one who gave up that touchdown in the second quarter, but makes a great play there and a slow developing screen pass. And if you're Creighton Prep, you probably shouldn't go back to that, even though there's still 7:15 to go in the third quarter. That play did not work well, and there's no reason to believe it'll work again.
Yeah, especially on 3rd and 11, and now we got whistles here, and timeout called by Creighton Prep, and that's dangerous because I remember that Lincoln Southeast game where Creighton Prep entered the late part of the third quarter trailing 21-0. They made a comeback, got the score to 24-21, but could not stop Lincoln Southeast because they had used up their timeouts and couldn't stop the clock. So they've got to be careful in a close game like this with timeout usage.
And yeah, this is not the first time that we've seen Prep waste a timeout where they seemingly didn't need to. We saw that near the end of the second quarter when they called the timeout after the kickoff return when we really didn't see anything wrong. It's not like they had 12 men on the field or anything.
Yeah.
So another odd place to call a timeout, 3rd and 11, and a key play here for the Prep offense to stay on the field, keep the Millard North offense off of it, and keep trying to assert themselves as the better team.
7:12 to go in the third quarter. 3rd and 10 from the 20 for Creighton Prep. Bullock in motion. Meisenberg's being chased. Fires a prayer up for Bullock, and it's nearly caught but incomplete. And that's going to bring up 4th down as there's no flag from the officials.
Oh, boy.
Birdcage does not agree with that, but incomplete is the call, and 4th and 10 is the result. And now we got an injured Prep player. Is that Meisenberg back there?
Looks like it is.
Oh, boy. He's got his
That
helmet
is
off.
not good.
He's in pain at the 9-yard line, and that is a bad sign. Fortunately, he's able to get to a knee. But if you're a Junior Jays fan, Parker Lisey has been able to step up in the past couple of weeks, and he's taken plenty of snaps tonight as well. So we hope, obviously, that Meisenberg is all right, but if he's unable to continue, Lisey is definitely a viable option.
And the injury there, clearly not as bad as the Dak Prescott injury. We can see Meisenberg walking off under his own power, but Meisenberg, like Prescott, the leader of this team, the emotional leader, and he's the guy who everybody on this team would go to war for. And now with him out, and that play makes it a 4th down, the Prep offense might be like a rudderless ship unless somebody else is able to step up.
Pat Foley's punt will go over the head of the returner,
Wow.
Closeman, and it's going to bounce again in favor of Prep and be down at the 27-yard line by Jonah Moore. So Pat Foley getting some excellent roll on his punts. We've already seen a 50-yarder from him tonight, and that one, great amount of distance as well. 1st and 10 coming up at the 26 for the Mustangs. And it'll be interesting to see with the injury to Meisenberg how long this drive takes for Millard North, because obviously they want to run the football. They want to possess it for a long time, but if they do that, that gives Sam Meisenberg more time to heal up on the sideline and get back in the game. So
Yeah.
we'll see how this plays out.
And one thing I was going to mention before we started talking about the Meisenberg injury was the refs seem to be letting the teams play a little bit more. On plays not that far apart, we saw a couple of times where pass interference could have been called but wasn't. So as the game gets closer and closer to the end, now 6:45 to go in the third quarter, the refs seem more and more likely to keep their whistles in their pockets.
3-yard gain on 1st down for Jason Cox. And that brings up 2nd and 7 from the 29. 6.5 to play in this third quarter. Creighton Prep still leads Millard North 14-10. Both teams have already possessed the football once in this second half. This is Millard North's second drive.
And both teams still trying to get offensive consistency in this second half. And if Millard North can get those 3-yard runs consistently, then they'll be in great shape.
Quaintance is bottled up in the backfield by Creighton Prep as he tried to reverse his field, but there was nowhere to go as he was surrounded by Junior Jays. It's a loss of 1 on the play, and 3rd and 8 is coming up from the 28-yard line.
And
Jonah Moore in on the stop. You mentioned the secondary getting involved. There you go.
And Joey Glogowski in there again. He's been great at getting through that Millard North offensive line all game. And he's been really the only Prep defender that's been able to get a handle on Jimmy Quaintance, because otherwise Quaintance has basically had his way, but Glogowski is doing a very good job at bringing him to the ground.
3rd and 8, there's a backwards pass to Blake Closeman, and he's tripped up immediately at the 30-yard line by Michael Barrett, the safety. Gain of only 2 on the play, and Creighton Prep continues to thrive, making open field tackles. 4th down coming up as the Junior Jays defense forces a 3-and-out.
And a huge play for Prep after what could be a huge momentum loss, an injury to the quarterback and the team leader. Oh, they're faking it.
Oh, it's a fake punt as Closeman's going to take off. He's met right at the line to gain for the
think he's
first down. The marker
I think he's short.
would indicate that he's short. And it is Creighton Prep ball at the 36. So Millard North fakes the punt with Blake Closeman, who can do it all. And it comes up half a yard shy, giving the Junior Jays phenomenal field position.
And George Egan, the sophomore linebacker there, had to step up for his team. just inches away from the first down marker, and a great tackle by Egan. And what I was saying about momentum going to Prep despite the quarterback injury, multiply that momentum by 2 after that stop.
Parker Lisey in the game, a quarterback for the injured Sam Meisenberg, and his first carry goes for a loss of 1, as that was a slow developing play. Millard North able to get it in the backfield. 2nd and 11 coming up, under 5 minutes to play in the third quarter. So Lisey in the game for now. Of course, he had 2 total touchdowns in the last game against Papio South. 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, and he's going to have to make some big plays with the absence of the starter.
And Millard North's equivalent of Joey Glogowski makes the play there. That was Zeph Seibels-Eden. You've heard his name a couple times before. You're likely to hear his name a couple more times before the end of the night because he is very good at getting into the back.
Play fake, Lisey, deep shot, single coverage, and it's underthrown, incomplete to Rollins, but we've got a flag down in the path of his route at the 25-yard line.
Rollins ended up on the ground at the 5. There was some hand fighting between him and Carver Jones. Basically from the 25 on down, a clear case of a penalty here. The only question is who it's going to be on.
And it looks like there might be another flag sitting back at the 32, so... Oh, an eligible man downfield, so it had nothing to do with A.J. Rollins. Instead, an offensive lineman for Creighton Prep got a little too excited and ran too far down the field.
So they didn't even throw the flag for all that hand fighting between Rollins and Jones. That's incredible because there was clearly interference there.
Well, it could have been going both ways. I mean, and you mentioned earlier the refs are letting things play here, so
except if you're an offensive lineman who wants to have some fun.
Yeah, exactly.
4:16 to go in the third quarter.
We already saw Sam Sledge with the catch that was called back earlier, but here comes 2nd and 16 from the 42 as Sam Meisenberg is back in the game at quarterback for Creighton Prep. So whatever. We've got another penalty here.
Maybe the penalty's offset. That's my guess.
Yeah.
You got to wonder if the refs lost a fantasy title a couple years ago because some team gave the ball to an offensive lineman instead of a running back on the goal line.
Who knows? They're getting after him tonight. I didn't catch what the penalty was that put the ball at the 37, but anyway, it's 3rd and 12 for Creighton Prep with Sam Meisenberg back in the game.
I think the penalty's just offset.
Okay. Meisenberg fires. Bullock, he wasn't ready for it, and it's incomplete as Meisenberg just threw it a little too quick. Bullock got open, but did not have his head around as the pass whizzed by him. And now 4th and 11, and you're in this no man's land range for Creighton Prep.
Kick it.
It'd be a 54-yard try from here for Pat Foley, who came up well short from 52 in the last game against Papio South. And it looks like the offense is going to stay out on the field. And
that's smart.
This is where you take a shot to Alex Bullock or throw an out route right at the 25-yard line.
And that play there, the incompletion, a rare miscommunication between Bullock and Meisenberg. They're normally on the same page all the time.
Meisenberg rolls left.
He's got
Bullock is breaking free, and he goes up and gets it inside the 20 at the 15. And it is too easy for number 3. 1st and 10, Creighton Prep at the 15. Alex Bullock continues to do his thing, and I don't know about you, but I was watching his route the whole way, and as soon as he broke open, you knew where Meisenberg was going with the ball.
Ran the corner route and just absolutely twisted Noah Boganowski around. And much like against Millard West when he made that key catch on the 4th down to seal the win, 22-yard play on 4th and 12. Huge play from Alex Bullock in a Prep career in which he's made so many of them.
And we've got an injury timeout, maybe. I mean, there's an injury for
Brian Petrie.
Or is that Seibels-Eden?
No, it's number 29 who came off the side. Off the field. That's Brian Petrie, the sophomore. Interesting. I thought the coach was just so angry at him that he had to take him out immediately, but no, it does look like an injury.
So we've seen Alex Bullock make conversion catches on 3rd and 17 for a touchdown, and now just recently on 4th and 12, he has been clutch again and again as Parker Lisey's back in at quarterback. He'll take it himself.
Oh, boy.
And it's a copy of his first carry, losing a yard as he tried to go right, but was swallowed up by Millard North defensive lineman. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 15.
And that tackle was Seibels-Eden. He's been in there a lot. And Prep looking like they're going to stick with the power running offense now that they're inside the 20, which makes sense. But never mind, here comes Meisenberg.
Yeah, so
But you can't just let Zybels Eden wreak havoc in your backfield because you're going to go backwards if you don't block him.
So Prep going back and forth between quarterbacks here. Meisenberg's going to air it out to the end zone. Bullock has it for the touchdown again. Alex Bullock with his second of the game. And the Junior Jays extend the lead to 20-10 with 3:04 to go in the third quarter. And it's just wash, rinse, repeat with Sam Meisenberg floating it up to Alex Bullock in the end zone.
And the sole reason that Prep is up in this game, and probably the sole reason that Prep is the better team, is because they're willing to make adjustments. Millard North is not. We saw Prep make the adjustment coming out with the 4 wide formation a couple times, and we've seen them just realize, wait a minute, Alex Bullock is being guarded one-on-one by a guy who's 3 inches shorter than he is. Let's go to him. While Millard North is saying, wait a second, their best receiver is being guarded by a guy 3 inches shorter than him. No big deal.
Yep.
But it has turned out to be a very big deal. 2 touchdowns for Alex Bullock already with 3:04 to go in the third quarter. And Prep now taking a 21-10 lead. And another stop here could really help seal the deal on this game.
Yep, 3:04 to go in the third quarter. Pat Foley now 3 for 3 with extra points as he puts another one through to make it 21-10. But Sam Meisenberg with 2 touchdown passes tonight, both of them to Alex Bullock, and it was Bullock who got the Junior Jays into the red zone with the 22-yard contested catch on 4th and 12, and then another contested catch in the end zone for a touchdown. And it looked like Millard North was trying to get a second guy on him, but it was a safety that was just too late getting over there. So there's plenty of work to be done for the Mustangs defensively. There's no doubt about it.
At this point, if you're Millard North, you just have to send a safety to Bullock's side every time.
Yeah.
Because it's clear that if it's a passing scenario, the ball's going to him.
So Pat Foley will tee it up. Just over 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. Prep lead back up to 11 at 21-10. Isaiah McMorris, Tyson Yonk await the kick, standing at their own 1-yard line.
McMorris, a freshman. Interesting that they're putting him in.
Foley's kick is returnable. Tyson Yonk from the 6. He's got the only Millard North touchdown tonight, and he's got a kick return to about the 27-yard line, and that's where the Mustangs will begin with 1st and 10. And offense has struggled a bit to start the second half, and we saw at the end of the last drive, they had 4th and 6, went for the fake punt, ended up a half-yard short, and that was maybe a big turning point in the game because it set up Creighton Prep for an easy touchdown drive.
They're definitely going to have to put the ball in the air a little bit more. And a nice tackle there by the sophomore defensive back for Creighton Prep, Caden Russell. Saw him break down there in the open space against Tyson Yonk there, and he was able to force him out of bounds before he could get any farther.
Jason Cox doesn't have much space to work with. Only 2 yards on the play there. It'll bring up 2nd and 8 from the 29 as the middle part of that Creighton Prep run defense continues to perform well tonight. And 2nd and 8 coming up.
Over here on the Millard North sideline, you can kind of feel the sense of dread starting to creep in just slightly. They're starting to look at the clock and doing a little bit of math in their heads. Wait, we have how long to score how many points? There's definitely a negative feeling starting to creep through the air, and that is very good news for Prep because it means that they can just continue to assert their will.
Looked like Quainton's kept it on 2nd and 8, and he's able to get 3 yards. So 3rd and 5 coming up for Millard North, and they've been forced into a lot of these 3rd and medium situations where they can run it, but if they do, it's likely to end up short. So they've got a decision to make here on 3rd and 5 from the 32.
Yeah. And this is a play where you absolutely have to make the first down. Under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, meaning under 14 minutes to go in the game, you have to score on this drive, and you have to get this first down right here. Those are 2 things that you absolutely need to do. It doesn't matter really how long this drive takes. There'll still be plenty of time, but you need to score.
Quainton's lunges forward, and he's not quite at the first down marker as he kept it himself, but a nice tackle was made, half a yard shy of the line to gain, and 4th and inches coming up for the Mustangs, and let's see if they keep the offense out on the field and just go with something in the area of a quarterback sneak.
And it looked like that might have been Max Cobbs there who undercut Quainton's. Great play by the senior linebacker. and it does look like Millard North is staying out there on the field. And you got to wonder what the scoreline would be if they had done that in the first and second quarter, because I can tell you right now, it wouldn't be 21-10.
Here we go. 4th and inches. A minute to play in the third quarter. Creighton
He's short.
bursts forward. Second effort is right at the sticks at the 37-yard line, and they give him the first down.
What?
They give him the first down. It looked like the second effort got him there as the nose of the football just barely got to the 37.
Ooh.
And it's a first down for the Mustangs. So 50,
I don't know about that call.
50 seconds left in the third quarter, and Millard North able to convert on a 4th and inches and quite possibly keep their hopes alive, because if they don't get the job done there, Creighton Prep has great field position
40
again.
seconds to go in the third quarter. Another great example of the incredible effort of Creighton's.
Well, that time his effort is not able to get anywhere as he's hit in the backfield for a loss of 3 yards as
Joey Glogowski
continues to do his thing tonight, and that Creighton Prep defensive penetration continues to defeat Millard North's offensive line. 2nd and 13 coming up.
And I think that's either the 3rd or 4th tackle for loss for Glogowski. He's been playing really well this game, and looks like we might head to the 4th quarter. Prep leading 21-10. 12 minutes to go. One of these teams will go home.
Yep, so 21-10 in favor of the Junior Jays. Millard North will have 2nd and 13 from their own 34 when we begin the 4th quarter, which Creighton Prep is own of this year. So let's have a little fun between the 3rd and 4th quarter. Take a look at the teacher predictions for this week. And Mr. Matt Delaney, I don't know what he was thinking, predicting Prep to win by 25, 42-17. I mean, did he do any research? Everybody knew this was going to be a close game, and obviously Prep is not blowing out Millard North by any means tonight. Mr. Ewing looks like he's got the best-looking prediction, along with Mr. James Justice, who's won a couple so far. Both of them have Prep winning by 2 touchdowns. Prep, of course, up by 11 right now, and then Mr. Thompson thought that the Creighton Prep defense would dominate, only allowing 6 points tonight, and they've done quite well.
He's not that far off.
Yeah, only giving up 11, and he's got the 21 right on the money to this point. So could be a close race to the finish, and it's definitely going to be a close race to the finish here as these two teams battle for their playoff lives in the 4th quarter.
Only prediction that's not looking great is Mr. Delaney's.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, but there's no way the Prep offense could put up 42 against this team unless something crazy happens in the 4th. I mean, crazier things have happened, but right now it does look like Prep is going to be able to hold on.
Yeah, so it'll be 2nd and 13 from the 34. Millard North getting set to begin the 4th quarter, trailing by 11 points as they get closer and closer to do-or-die time here in this game, and we have seen them throw the ball a very, very limited amount of times tonight, and they might have to late in this game. We'll see what happens.
They're already behind the sticks. The ball needs to start going into the air yesterday.
It keeps going on the ground as Jason Cox takes it to the 40-yard line, bringing up 3rd and 7. So 3rd and moderately long for the Mustangs. They could run the ball. They could throw the ball, but if they get across the 45 here, I think they're definitely going for it.
I mean, I think they have to go for it at this point. It's the 4th quarter. You're down double digits, and your defense hasn't really been able to get stops for the most part. So you have to go all out right now. And I say, like, at this point, you might have to just abandon the triple option system altogether because it's clearly not working.
Creighton's going to take a shot downfield. He's got Blake Closeman open inside the 30, and a huge play for Millard North. Takes it all the way to the 20-yard line as they finally go to the air and strike gold. 1st and 10 coming up in the red zone for the Mustangs.
And the key there was the blocking finally worked. When they have put the ball in the air for the most part, the blocking hasn't really been there. But the blocking was there that time. And a beautiful throw delivered by Jimmy Quains. Watching the first half of this game, I was wondering, how in the world did he get to 414 passing yards if he throws the ball like 4 times a game? Well, those 4 throws are probably pretty good ones based on that throw right there.
Jason Cox on 1st down will drive the Mustangs deeper into the red zone by a few yards. Gain of 3 on the play. And that'll set up 2nd and 7 from the 17. 10:40 to go in the 4th quarter here at Phelps Field.
And that play will be, that pass play could be interesting in seeing how it affects Prep's defensive philosophy, because I mentioned in the pregame, like, if you're Prep, maybe just let them throw the ball, and if it works, it works, but it definitely worked there. And when you're trying to hold on to a lead in a playoff game, you don't want anything for your opponent to work.
So 2nd and 7 from the 17. Millard North can make it a one-possession game with a score of any kind, but they'd love a touchdown, and as Jimmy Quainton's able to sidestep a couple tacklers off the fake, and he sets up 3rd and about 1 from the 12-yard line. So Millard North has to like what they're seeing. Short yardage situation coming up.
And this is the scenario that Millard North is best at because they've got so many options. Quaintons could just sneak it right up the middle. Quaintons could run the triple option, and there's plenty of options that come from that. Quaintons could drop back to pass. There's so many things they could do, and all of the ways to stop them are completely different.
3rd and 3 from the 13-yard line. Quaintons keeps it himself. He's going nowhere. He wanted to hand it off to Jason Cox initially, but Prep defenders were all over him, and after they got past Cox, they got right to Quaintons, who was standing right behind him. Loss of 2. Now 4th and 5, and Millard North has a decision to make here. Looks like they are going to kick the field goal, or are they?
Looks like it.
Well, Quaintons is still out on the field, and the Mustangs appear to be going for it.
Yeah, the kicker, Noah Boyd, still on the sideline, so it looks like you are right. 4th and 5, going for it. Potentially the final play of the game that Millard North has a chance to win.
Quaintons
Get the first down.
to throw. Wide open touchdown, Millard North. 15 yards from Jimmy Quaintons to Hayden Froschiser on 4th and 5, and a huge score for Millard North. 8:50 to go in the 4th quarter, and it's a 5-point game.
And Quaintons showing his poise and his mental strength there. Just drops back. He knows that if he can't make this play, the game is in all likelihood over. Makes a picture-perfect throw right to Froschiser, who easily catches it for the score. And now we've got a game again with 8:50 to go, 21-17.
So Jimmy Quaintons has barely thrown the football at all tonight, but he's got 2 passing touchdowns out of it. And it's 21-17 Creighton Prep, and that was an interesting decision, I thought, to take the extra point because they could have gone for 2 and made it a field goal difference in the game, but instead they elect to take the point and remain down by 4. So 8:50 to go, Junior Jays 21, Mustangs 17, and last drive for Creighton Prep was just another Alex Bullock touchdown. They started with great field position at the Mustangs 35 and were able to cash in, and we'll see if they try and lean on the ground game a bit more here.
8:50 to go, and this is the time. At this point, Millard North has 2 opponents that they're going to have to deal with, Creighton Prep and the clock. So a quick stop here would be hugely beneficial for them, especially when you consider those 4 points that could have been left on the board in the first quarter by Millard North, thanks to going for that field goal instead of that touchdown.
So Noah Boyd will get set to kick it away. Pierce Johnson, Carson Bartak waiting at the 11-yard line for Creighton Prep. Kicks have been generally short tonight from Boyd. And this one will be even shorter. Taken from the 25 by Kyle Munt, and it's a return of only 4. So 1st and 10 coming up from the 29-yard line, and this Creighton Prep offense has gone back and forth in recent drives between Sam Meisenberg, the traditional starter, and better passer, and then between him and Parker Lisey, the quarterback who runs the ball a bit better. And they will start this drive, it looks like, with Sam Meisenberg.
Kind of the same style as last year with John Caniglio and Braden Woodward. And it seems to be working so far for Prep. But the key here for the offense is to not go for the kill. You don't need to go for the home run ball right now. Just do what's working, keep the ball in your hands, and keep driving.
1st and 10 at the 29, handoff to Stessman. He's got space. Stessman across the 40, across midfield. There's a flag down as Stessman takes it all the way to the end zone, but it could come back. As it stands right now, it's a 71-yard touchdown run, but the flag is at the Prep 47. And a holding against the Junior Jays will wipe out another big play.
Oh, if you're Jack Stessman, you got to be furious right now. You've wasted probably 100 yards of great running only to find out that it's all coming back because somebody threw a yellow handkerchief onto the field. Oh, man, a huge play for Prep, and that could be a momentum swing in and of itself because now you go from touchdown. Oh, it was on Bullock, too.
Oh, it was Rollins.
No, it was Rollins?
Yeah,
Okay.
8. Yep.
I thought they said 3. But as the Millard North defense, now you go from, oh, no, we just gave up a touchdown. We're down double digits again, to, wait a second, we didn't give up a touchdown.
So now it's 1st and 3.
Looks like it was a spot
of the foul. 1st and 2, actually, from the 37 as they give it to Vinny Cassiopo this time, his first carry of the game. And he takes it to the 48-yard line with a first down. Cassiopo missed the first half of the season with a dislocated elbow injury, but came back for the Lincoln Northeast game, scored a touchdown on his first carry of the season, and also captains the hockey team. And he's got a first down at the 48.
Yeah, he was the lead back last year, giving way to Jack Stessman this year, especially with that injury. But he could be a very good number 2 back if Prep needs his services like they did there.
Stessman back in the game. I formation on first down from the 48. 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Blocks here.
Toss it to Stessman, and he does not get good blocks as he picks up about a yard to the 49. So Millard North's defense does a nice job limiting the gains on the ground. It'll be 2nd and 9 from the 49-yard line of Prep.
And we've talked about how dangerous Stessman can be when he gets outside. The issue is he's got to get outside first. It looked like Prep was trying to run a toss play there, but the defenders beat the blockers to the spot, and there was nothing Stessman could do about that. 2nd and 9, and it looks like they're staying in the I formation. We've talked about this. The I formation hasn't really been good to them, despite the lead with 7:30 to go in the fourth quarter.
And a smaller defender on Bullock at the bottom of the screen, but they're going to run the ball to Sanders, and he is crushed in the backfield for a loss of a yard. So Creighton Prep trying to go up the middle and finding no success as they will have 3rd and 10 from the 48-yard line. Millard North's defense stepping up when they're needed most.
Looked like Davis Hill, the senior linebacker for Millard North, had a hand in that tackle, and that was a hard tackle too. Meisenberg back in, 3rd down and 10, and this is the scenario, despite Meisenberg's great arm, that Millard North wants. They want to take their chance with the pass, despite, once again, Boganowski on Bullock, bottom of the screen. Here comes Bullock.
They roll that way. Meisenberg
Oh,
floats
that's
it.
a pass.
Oh, boy,
There we
yeah.
go.
There it is. Bullock was tripped by Boganowski. Millard North fans claiming that he fell down on his own, but it looked like the feet got tangled up, and they're going to call pass interference against Millard North.
What it looked like to me was Boganowski couldn't keep up with Bullock, fell down. Bullock, going for the ball, fell over Boganowski, and that is most definitely a penalty and potentially a backbreaker for the Mustangs.
So 1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. Millard North cannot afford to give up a touchdown here. Makes it a 2-score game. And it looked like they might have jumped.
And it is an offside.
Yep, Millard North fans on our side of the field here really starting to get restless, as that's going to make it 1st and 5 at the 32-yard line.
Looks like it's not just the Millard North fans, it's the players too.
Yeah.
6:47 to go now. Millard North still has 3 timeouts, but if Prep can score on this drive, it's not going to matter.
6:47 to go in regulation. Stessman inside the 30, inside the 25, and to the 20-yard line with a gain of about 13 yards and a first down for Creighton Prep. So Stessman's starting to heat up, and he's got the Junior J set up in the red zone with 6.5 to go.
And if you're Prep here, you don't necessarily need a first down score. You don't need to lob it up to Alex Bullock in the corner, despite, once again, Boganowski being on the same side. You can just keep running the ball and ticking those precious seconds off the clock.
Bullock and Rollins stacked toward the bottom of your screen. They will run the ball. Stessman is hammered in the backfield for a loss of 2.
And that's Zeph Seivel's Eden. 5'11", 280. Stessman's going to feel that one in the morning for sure.
So 2nd and 12 now at the 22-yard line, as it's really been feast or famine for this Millard North defense and Creighton Prep rushing attack on this drive.
Same formation. They might look to pass on this one out of play action.
They will. Quick pass. Bullock's open, and he's able to try and stiff arm a defender and brought down at the 16. So a huge 3rd down coming up right here. It's going to be
3rd and 6.
3rd and 6 from the 16-yard line. So I guess that time Creighton Prep, understanding that Millard North is going to respect the deep ball and play off Alex Bullock a bit, they just go underneath. It's wide open.
Yeah, and Rollins was going deep too. He's been quiet this game. He's been a little quieter than we expected all season, but when he's needed to make plays, for the most part, he's made plays, and a Rollins lob might be in play, especially if you've got Bullock one-on-one and the defense tries to compensate for that. Yep, Bullock and Rollins on opposite sides. Watch for the lob.
3rd and 6 at the 16. They will go to the lob. Looking for Rollins. Far side, he's got it. Can he get to the pylon? Touchdown, Creighton Prep. A.J. Rollins extends the lead, and you called it, partner.
Can I get $5?
Oh, my gosh. 5:02 to go, and it's a 10-point lead for Prep.
And that might be what Prep has been trying to set up the whole game. Millard North finally caught on to Alex Bullock being good at football, and they started respecting his ability to catch the ball, and they decided to leave A.J. Rollins one-on-one. And that, in retrospect, might be a bigger mistake than leaving Bullock, because at least with Bullock, he's reasonably close in height to most of the corners, but Rollins has at least 5 inches on most, if not all of them.
Yeah, and he can just box out those defenders, as Pat Foley's extra point is good. 28-17 Creighton Prep, as A.J. Rollins, who had 5 regular season touchdowns, adds a postseason score here in round 1, and the Junior Jays lead by 11, and Millard North has got to get points out of this drive right here, right now.
Another great throw by Meisenberg, too.
Yep, Meisenberg has been excellent. He started off quite rocky, several inaccurate throws in the first couple drives of the game, but in the end, he's got 3 touchdown passes on the night, tying his career high. 2 of them to Bullock, 1 to A.J. Rollins, and we've got a final score. 8th-ranked Gretna has fallen to 9th-ranked Kearney by a score of 30-28. So Kearney moves on to take on Bellevue West. Already mentioned Millard South beat Millard West 21-7. So that means if Creighton Prep can hold on to their lead here, they go to Buell Stadium next week to take on the Patriots on Friday night.
And Bellevue West is also final 45-13. So they will be playing the 9th-seeded Kearney next week in the quarterfinals.
So Pat Foley will kick it off here. And Millard North, with only 5 minutes remaining, must get points out of this drive to stay alive in this game.
They've still got all 3 timeouts, but considering they'll have to score, stop, and score again, what they need is to just put the ball into the air.
Kick returned from the 1-yard line. Tyson Yonk tries to make a cutback, and he's spilled quickly inside the 20-yard line at the 18.
That looked like Michael Palmazzano. Nice hit by him.
Special teams unit for Creighton Prep playing with some passion after the score. And Millard North will have rough starting field position at their own 18. 4:56 remaining in the 4th quarter.
And you mentioned watching Quaintance in warm-ups and noticing his powerful arm. He's going to have to use that to great effect here, because Millard North is very quickly running out of time and options to win this game.
Quaintance with 2 passing touchdowns tonight. Those are the only scores for Millard North. They've got 3 receivers to the near side here on 1st down, and they will look to throw quick passes on the money to Closeman, who is stood up by Barrett and Hayden Stessman at the 25, but it's a gain of 7 yards. So a nice start, nice accurate throw to get it to 2nd and 3 for Millard North.
And the passing working, but remember, there's not a lot of time left. 4:30 to go in this 4th quarter. You've got to think deeper than 7 yards.
Yeah, but it's better than nothing.
It sure is, but at this point, you've got to start swinging for the fences.
See what they do. Press coverage at the top of the screen. Quaintance looking in that direction. He is going to air it out, and it's just over the head of his intended target, Hayden Froscheiser, who caught the most recent touchdown for Millard North. And now 3rd and 3 from the 25-yard line, 4:17 to go.
And 3rd down, and Prep already aware that Millard North going to air it out. Everyone in the stadium at this point is probably aware that this is the play where Millard North has to throw the ball. But the key for Millard North is getting guys open, because so far they've been fairly successful in that, but the throws have either been inaccurate or short of the sticks for them to cause much damage. So big play needed here for Millard North.
They bring Closeman in motion. Quaintance takes it himself, and he's brought down with the first down, it looks like, as he's a yard past the marker, gain of 4 on the play, and 1st and 10 at the 29. So Creighton's definitely the best option for Millard North if they want to run the football.
Yeah, clock ticking, though. 4 minutes to go in this game. Still all 3 timeouts for Millard North, but they're still taking their sweet time, and you got to wonder whether they realize that they've only got about 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go in their season unless they do something drastic right now.
They've got to kick it into high gear, and they will look for a pass. Quaintons airs it out. There's a flag down. Bullock dives, and he can't come up with the interception, but there is a penalty marker back at the line of scrimmage. As Quaintons was looking to air it out for...
And Bullock is down.
Oh, Bullock is... Oh, no. Oh, boy. Bullock is injured at the 36.
Looks like the ball might have knocked the wind out of him or something. He is pounding the turf, getting back up now.
The pass was intended for Dawson Iman, by the way, and Bullock always giving 100% for his team, a great senior leader and a captain, went all out to try and make that diving interception, and he's able to get to his feet. And
looks like he is walking over to the sidelines, and it looked like the penalty was unsportsmanlike conduct, I believe.
Ooh, that's a big one. It's now
maybe not. I don't.
Well,
I don't know.
it's 1st and 24, so it's not a.
Oh.
Okay.
Maybe holding as well, but Bullock walking to the sidelines. We hope he's okay. That's the second time tonight we've seen an injury in the secondary, first with A.J. Collins. He returned fairly quickly. Let's hope the same also holds true for Bullock.
So 1st and 24 now for Millard North, and you definitely can't run the ball here because if you're tackled in bounds, the clock just keeps running because you're not going to get a first down when you've got 24 yards to go. As Quaintons pumps, airs it out, double coverage. There's some separation. It's incomplete. Collins was engaged in some hand fighting there with the intended receiver, Noah Boganowski, but no flags and an incomplete pass. Brings up 2nd and 24. So Millard North, you know, you told them they got to start airing it out and putting their foot on the gas, and they're doing just that with some deep shots.
And that might be why Meisenberg was so successful later in the game. He had those first couple of passes jitters where he was missing throws, but then he quickly found his form, and he made 3 great throws on the 3 passing touchdowns he's got. But Jimmy Quaintons probably still with those first throw jitters. He hasn't had to make a lot of throws, but he's definitely making them now.
And they might go even farther backwards. Delay of game against Millard North. And disaster is striking right now for the Mustangs on this must-have drive. It's going to be 2nd and 29 from the 10 with 3:36 to go.
Those negative feelings I mentioned trickling through the Millard North fan section earlier, they're starting to turn into rage, especially after that no call against Collins. That's the second time tonight that one could have thrown the flag on Collins, but no flags were coming, and now this game's all but over.
Quaintons airs it out downfield, and it's
Over
incomplete.
Everybody. Over
the head of the intended receiver, Tyson Yonk, and over the head of Alex Bullock as well, as there was double coverage with Bullock and Collins. 3rd and 29 coming up, and 3.5 to play in the 4th quarter.
And at this point, if you're Millard North, you're really just trying to get out of the shadow of your own goal line. What you don't want for sure is for Prep to score yet another touchdown and really put a damper on the end of this game for you and for the fans. It's 3rd and 29. At this point, I'd say you might as well just go for the run because you have about as good a chance of making this first down as you do of actually winning the game. So
Quaintons, quick throw right through the hands of Isaiah McMorris, who couldn't handle the hot shot throw from Jimmy Quaintons. It's incomplete, and now 4th and 29, and Millard North is in all kinds of trouble here. They're going to have to punt and really rely on a miracle at this point.
Maybe they should fake the punt again. It almost worked last time. That tackle by George Egan, the sophomore, really changed the game because at that point it was still 21-17.
Yeah.
And he stopped him just inches short.
And gave Prep great field position.
So props to George Egan for that great play.
And they are going to punt. Pretty good one from Closeman. And it's going to get a great bounce. Rolling all the way inside the 40-yard line, and it'll be down at the 38. So 3:18 to go, and Millard North has got to force the 3 and out if they want to keep any hope alive in this ball game.
Mm-hmm. They still do have all 3 timeouts with 3:18 to go, but they would have to be playing the Falcons to come back from this.
Yeah, no kidding. 28-17. I mean, Prep does have 28 points. It's not 28-3, but
And Prep's not the Falcons.
yeah, 28-17. So we'll see if Prep can hang on and head to Millard South next week.
Like Alex Bullock's basically Julio Jones, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, there's some good comparisons to be made, but Prep doesn't blow leads. Prep comes back from big deficits to win. So
1st and 10 at the 38, 3:18 to go. And there's a whistle. I think Prep might have had too many on the field. Nope, false start instead. False start against Creighton Prep as they were rushing people onto the field at the last minute, and they'll be forced into a 1st and 15 at the 33. 3:16 to go in the 4th quarter. Prep leads at 28-17. 2 receiving touchdowns from Alex Bullock, 1 receiving touchdown from A.J. Rollins, and a rushing touchdown from Jack Stessman have built their lead tonight. Handoff on 1st and 15, and churning his way for a couple yards is one of the fullbacks, Max Sanders that time, gain of 2, and that'll bring up 2nd and 13 from the 35.
And we've got another final in Class A. Number 5, Elkhorn South takes down number 12, Fremont, 44-0.
Oh.
So Elkhorn South moves on to the quarterfinals.
Fremont has been reeling. Their regular season ended with a 40-7 loss to these Millard North Mustangs, and they get creamed in the playoffs by Elkhorn South. But 2nd and 13 here at the 35. As Sam Meisenberg is in at quarterback. We just saw Parker Lisey on the field for the last play. Handoff to Stessman, and that gets 2. Clock continues to roll. 2:25 and ticking to go in the 4th quarter. It'll be 3rd and 11 from the 37-yard line.
And Millard North not even using those timeouts despite the clock ticking down on about 2 minutes. This game really all but over. All that's left to do is just run these plays. And if you're Millard North, pray for a miracle.
So 2 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, and Prep will have 3rd and 11 from the 37-yard line. They've got Bullock and Rollins stacked on the near side once again. We'll see if they keep it on the ground or put it in the air. And we've got a whistle before it happens. Timeout, Creighton Prep. So they take the clock as far down as it can go without getting a delay of game. And they use their 2nd timeout of the half.
And considering that they've got another timeout, that might be the move again, is to just run the ball at the middle with Stessman, get 1 or 2 yards, or heck, maybe even close to the 1st down, and then let the clock tick down to, it'll probably be about a minute, and then just punt, because the 99.9% win chance would go up to 100% after that.
If you're Jack Stessman or Max Sanders or whoever's carrying the football, you've got to have 2 hands on the ball at all times. We've already seen Max Sanders fumble once tonight, and really the only thing that can reasonably keep Millard North in this ball game is a turnover. Prep will have 3rd and 11 from the 37, 1:49 to go in regulation. They've got a 3-man backfield here.
Doesn't look like Stessman's part of it. No, never mind.
Yep, that is Stessman, shrugging off a couple of hits and getting to the 42. So that's going to bring up 4th and 6 as the 1st timeout is used by Millard North.
They should have started using those about 2 minutes ago. There is really no point in using those timeouts now. To quote an old expression, it's like closing the barn door after the horse has long gone. And the horse is indeed gone. And it looks like Creighton Prep, barring something that I've never seen before in a football game at any level, will be moving on to the quarterfinals to play against the number 3
Millard South. Yep.
Gonna be an interesting game.
For sure, and we've been talking about all year how Class A has really been structured into tiers. You've got Westside, Bellevue West, Millard South at the top, and they are far ahead of everybody else. And then you've got that middle tier with teams like Elkhorn South, Creighton Prep, Lincoln Southeast. So we'll see if Prep can go to Buell Stadium next week and prove that they can bridge that gap between the top tier and the middle tier. It'll
Where
be.
do you think you'd put Lincoln East in that tier list, especially after their win tonight?
I think they've definitely joined that middle tier with Prep. That was a statement.
Weren't they at number 7 though?
Yeah, they were at 7.
Yeah, they'd already be in that tier then. Do you think
Yeah.
they might have moved up a level?
Maybe. Who knows? As this
Oh.
punt is from Pat Foley, there's no man back deep to return it, and it's going to bounce backwards and be down at the 35 by Kyle Munt. So that's where Millard North will start. 1:28 to go in regulation. Mustangs have 2 timeouts to work with, and they've got to get down the field quickly and then recover an onside kick.
I
So
kind of want to see them running shotgun just because I've never seen a Millard North team do that before. I think that'd be a pretty fun way to end the game.
yeah, we'll see what they do, but I'm sure it's just going to be those deep shots down the
Mhm.
sideline again and again.
And Bullock's back in, too.
Yep. None of those deep shots have really worked at this point. They've had a couple nice intermediate level throws that have been successful, but their offense has become more and more predictable as they've been forced to throw the ball. We'll throw it again. Quaintance evading the rush, stepping up and running, and getting across the 40, refusing to go down and getting the
Great
first down.
run from Jimmy Quaintance.
Yeah, getting the first down at the 45-yard line with a gain of 10. And that will stop the clock momentarily as the chains are moved. 1st and 10 now at the 45.
And he had a decent amount of time there, too. But Quaintance, a great job just bouncing off tacklers, bouncing through blockers. Somehow able to get the first down out of play where I thought he was going to go down after just 1 or 2. And he's been the lone bright spot for this Millard North offense in the second half.
Under a minute remaining in the 4th quarter as the quick slant is caught for the first down by Noah Boganowski at the 44 of Creighton Prep. Another 10-yard gain.
And
Maybe
the
even
chains will move.
Yep, maybe even 11 yards there. 50 seconds and counting left in regulation, and Millard North really in no hurry.
Mhm.
They'll have 1st and 10 at the Prep 44 after back-to-back first down plays. Play fake, Quaintance, quick throw, it's complete, and it's going to get out of bounds as Blake Closeman is pushed out by Collins at the 34, and that's close to another first down. Depends on where they put the football. In any event, the clock is stopped, and they will leave him about half a yard shy, it looks like.
He looks like he's right at the sticks. What?
Oh, they're going
Oh,
to
yeah, they're moving the sticks.
Yeah, they'll give him the first down, but the key on that play is that he got out of bounds and stopped the clock with 35 seconds to go in the 4th quarter.
Saves a timeout for the Mustangs, too. And what I mentioned earlier about the adjustments, how Prep was willing to make them,
Ooh,
Millard North wasn't.
play fake. A duck from Quaintance is incomplete. That was spiraling all over the place up in the air as he was thrown off his back foot, intended for Isaiah McMorris, but incomplete, and now it'll be 2nd and 10.
So you remember what I said about Prep making adjustments, but Millard North just not really making any adjustments this game?
Mm-hmm.
I think that still holds true because this passing offense that they're running, it's working. Prep knows what's coming, and except for that incompletion right there, they haven't really been able to stop it.
Yeah.
So if Millard North goes to this, let's say, after the score that made it 21-17, I mean, who knows? They might still be in this game.
They'll toss it here on 2nd down, and there is some space inside the 30, inside the 25, and some nice running in the open field by Tyson Yonk, who's got a touchdown tonight. Sets up 1st and 10 at the 16. Nice gain of 18 yards. And the clock is running. Millard North is not using the timeout. And it definitely looks like they are acknowledging that this game is a lost cause.
One final play
Yeah.
to make the score respectable, I suppose.
5 seconds to go. Quaintance, one more throw. Clock is at zeros. Now he's going to take off and run, trying to direct traffic. Quaintance still looking, now fires back towards the end zone, and that is an easy interception for Toby Okafor. And now he's going to try and return it to the end zone. And he's across the 35, still on his feet, now tackled at the 43.
He wanted that pick
And the
six.
Junior Jays will head to the head to the second round on that exclamation point, an interception from Toby Okafor, and they've got a date with Millard South next Friday night at Buell Stadium. Final score: Creighton Prep 28 and Millard North 17.
And a great game by Creighton Prep. Sam Meisenberg really showing his physical and mental strength. 3 touchdowns, all on some great throws for him. 2 to Alex Bullock, 1 to A.J. Rollins. And the defense for Prep stepping up when they need to. if you're the defensive coordinator, you got to give the game ball to Joey Glogowski. He played out of his mind.
Yeah.
4 tackles for loss today. And Phelps Field lit up blue and celebrating a Prep victory in the playoffs. Prep will be moving on next week to play at Millard South.
Yep, and here at CBTV, we will find out if we will be able to move on to Buell Stadium and bring that game to you. We'll get that figured out, but who knows, maybe this was our last broadcast of the football season, so we definitely like to thank a few people. Mr. Matt Raskushek runs the tech, puts in a lot of work during the week and before the stream even starts, just getting everything set up, and especially tonight with the short turnaround between the West Side game and this game. Alex Tejan, our cameraman, had to stand out in the cold tonight for 2.5 hours and deliver the images that you saw tonight extremely well. And we just like to thank all of you for tuning in this season. It was a heck of a ride being able to call 4 games.
Yeah, impressive. Hopefully we can do all of them next year. And
Yeah.
thanks to the cameramen, too. All those guys who get the great photos and videos of the Prep games that we can't get because we're not on the field level. Great job, guys.
Yeah, and thank you all for joining us this season, and we hope you all stay safe during this difficult time. And maybe we'll see you next week, maybe not. We know we'll see you for basketball season, but for Brendan Preisman, I am Tyler Reedy saying good night from Phelps Field and enjoy your weekend.